Disclaimer: the information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
The 600 and
An amazing event happened on planet Earth in the beautiful city of Beijing, China. The cosmic ray technology was shown for the first time to the public by the financial arm of Keshe Foundation, the American Mark Ray Corporation, which is traded on the US stock exchange. Mr. Keshe himself went to China to show creation of materials from the magnetic fields by using obsolete technology, or what we call rotating gas reactors with electric motors. He's using these old reactors as a starting point for humanity to slowly accept the evolution in science and technology. For 3 days straight, the reactors were run and shown live on Zoom so that anybody from around the world who wanted to could come in and see. Black particles like dust start appearing on the white paper sheets around the reactors. These particles are being created through the reactors and the fields of the universe and the inertia of our planet. They are not coming from the room. There were 4 sets of pairs of reactors with red and green gases spinning in them. We were told they were not CH3 and CuO, but something else. They were set up in a star formation on tables inside the front windows of the Intercontinental Hotel. Anybody passing on the street could see them. White papers and spoons were spread around the reactors to catch the materials being formed from the fields. Some knowledge seekers were able to capture on video when black specks suddenly appeared on the paper, like out of thin air. It was very interesting to witness when energy first appears in the matter state. As time went on and the fields built up and changed strength, the specks formed into bigger pieces and some elongated, and some changed color into gold. This is the first time the public has been able to freely witness the creation of matter from energy. At the end of 3 days, Mr. Keshe collected more particles and showed everyone attending. An interesting thing occurred. When he touched the black dust on the paper with his finger, it turned gold. He said it interacted with the fields of the inertia of the earth through his finger. This phenomenon was written about in ancient times when the Greek god Midas touched things and it was said they turned to gold. What we witness here is how everything in the universe is created, from ourselves to the planets and even cancer.
And welcome each and all to the Keshe American Knowledge Team. The knowledge of creation, the knowledge of the universe is what's being shared here. And of course, we're learning more about cosmic rays, and that's what today's topics will be. sort of centered around. It's part of our life, but I want to welcome each and every one here. Unfortunately, Alex won't be with us today. He has other things to attend to, but he's gracious enough to have sent a recording. So we have a 34-minute teaching. And of course, we're going to hear the teaching of Mr. Keshe and many things that he talked about in the last workshop. Again, the sharing of knowledge. But as we saw in the opening video, we're all cosmic ray generators and receivers. Even within our own universe and even extending and touching other universes. So we're learning more about this. And of course, we talked a lot about the emotions, the environment in the 637th, and about controlling, how to control the environment, how to control the soul and other things by using our emotions to interact and create these cosmic rays. So we're very similar to what we saw in this opening video with reactors and interactions of fields, which we do within our own structure. I think we all know this, but it's coming more and more to mainstream science, even though they've missed it so far. I'd also like to, of course, cover the geopolitical question. Mr. Keshe was sort of a bit timid about answering, as he's asked to remain silent, but he did share about 12 minutes on the geopolitical situation. And then, of course, we're covering some things on the Dome of Peace, because this is where we're using cosmic rays as well in this elevation of other souls, and cosmic rays come back and elevate ourselves. And so this is another process, again, mostly on the energy dimension. As he said, with the cosmic rays, we can, there's no need for food, there's no need for medicine, and there's no need for killing. If we can start to, and we are soft targets for these cosmic rays, so hopefully the controller, the elevation will be there for us to go to the next step in a peaceful creation of a peaceful universe, and that's mostly, I think, within ourselves. Anyone would like to add anything? This is the universe we're going to sort of recreate as we go out. I see Mosfek has joined us. Welcome, Mosfek. And then, of course, the announcements where apparently Mr. Keshe has been writing or asking people to write to share some of their ideas. They're not patenting anything. They're not in the patent business, but just to share some of your ideas or prototypes or papers, concepts, working models, what have you. But apparently the response isn't that strong, or the knowledge being offered by the knowledge seekers is not that in depth. As he said, many of the offers were not something that would benefit humanity. And of course, we know that we understand only about, or know about only about 5% of the systems within the Keshe Foundation. So I can't blame people for perhaps writing things they didn't know the Keshe Foundation may have already developed. And as he said, most of the ideas were obsolete. They're moving into this idea of creating things without converting materials in so many ways, nothing to buy, just creating, even making ganses apparently. So a lot of beautiful knowledge shared, and again, don't feel that you were slighted if your request to the Keshe Foundation is not answered, as they are not full of many people to do a lot of work. It's a few people doing a lot of work, so we have to be patient, just the way we've been patient with the game and the rest, and we're helping to support and develop this. But it's all about bringing man into this peaceful condition as I see it. And so the first thing we normally cover is just to reconfirm our ethos, because we're still not quite there yet, but apparently through this cosmic ray technology, we can certainly advance quite a bit. As we keep indicating, we're playing with these cosmic rays all the time. The beautiful example, as we've all have gone through, is you think of someone calling you, and within minutes or seconds, the phone rings and it's them, because that wish or that intention was so pure that it actually created an emotion within the other soul to pick up the phone and call you. So this is the idea, in a way, of cosmic rays. We're going to cover that today, but let's get your comments after we read the World Peace Treaty. And of course, this is something that will be signed by world leaders and others, again, whether it's with a formal pen in the matter state or with the pen of your soul. And of course, finding peace is finding peace within yourself first, then the others. And of course, I guess I'll be spending most of the time on myself until I become more peaceful. Then I can teach the others. But slowly, step by step, we're moving in this direction. I only thought it was violence against other people in a way, and in a way it really is, but we do call vertical plants sort of the vertical people, and the ones that move horizontally we call the horizontal people. So I guess people are involved. Manfred, did you want to say something, or I see your...
Yes, yes, I like to read the World Peace Treaty today.
Okay, I know you're bilingual, and your English is most likely good. I'm sure it's way better than my Deutsch. If you you can read it in either English or in your native language. I noticed in the One Planet, One Nation
I like
network, sometimes people, when we're doing the soul connections, they like to sort of express it in their own tongue. And again, I leave it fully up to you, however you'd like to deliver it. Thank you.
Today I read it in English. Okay. So, World Peace Treaty. We, as citizens of the earth, from this moment on accept to lay down all tools of aggression and war. We, shall never think about getting involved or inside war or develop or use any tools of war on this planet or in space. And to this we, all agree and swear with our delete as appropriate name, nation, territory, council, religion, city, town, bodies, and soul. Thank you.
Okay, and the rest is very self-explanatory. Thank you, Manfred, for sharing your voice with us. And this is what the whole technology is about to bring. It's not the end all, but it's getting us into a peaceful position that we don't replicate the killing and destruction on this planet in the universe, which we've been doing. And also, we're trying to create a condition on this planet where future generations don't have to see and go through what many of us have seen and gone through. I think this is the cake of peace that Mr. Keshe was talking about in one of the questions, where he said the cake of peace is already created. I just have to deliver it. And that's what we're doing here in a way, helping to deliver this cake of peace for now or future generations, but certainly when we go out into the universe and apparently create the wrong way. Well, you think if you were wrong, you'd go to hell or something like that in the Western Christian doctrine. But as we understand, there is no heaven and there is no hell. It's the position you take or the point of observation or how close to the Creator you become or how far away from the Creator. Perhaps that's hell as we understand it. But we've been creating in the wrong way in the universe, carrying some of these wrong streaks that we're carrying that came apparently from the soul of this planet. So that's why part of this is elevating the soul of this planet as well, which is part of the creation of the Dome of Peace. And in that process, your soul becomes more peaceful as well. Of course, we have a whole game called the Game of Peace and Enlightenment, which the ethos of the Keshe Foundation starts to sink in the more you start to use it. But again, I keep going back to this: use any tools of war on this planet or in space. And again, I continue to think that that universe, that space he's talking about, this space technology is all going on in the cranium, between the brain and the soul of the man and the emotions, perhaps. But that's just my simple understanding of this, but this is what it seems to be. That we can travel the spans of the universe without any sort of craft or any mechanisms through the magnetic fields. And if you'd like to manifest at a certain position, you're welcome to do so. But you may not manifest as a man, even though the soul and the soul of physicality will be the same, as I understand it. Anyone want to share anything on the World Peace Treaty? This is part of the new science. This is part of the new ethos, and this This is part of the new language. Again, the language of kindness, the language of love, and the language of giving. We think on this planet how much we take every day, how much we accumulate. Apparently, in this energy dimension world where the Creator lives, and many members of the universal community live, they think about how much they've given each day. Have I given enough? Which is a very rare emotion that comes to most of us. But this is what we're all learning more about ourselves, more about the knowledge of the universe, and so on. Any comments on the World Peace Treaty? You can see we're in dire need of it. But again, this is just what we see today is a repetition of what's been going on this planet for the last 3,000 years or more. We've had 5,000 wars, plus all of the, as Alex likes to say, loose harvesting between each of us and between the other people on this planet, which we call vertical people or horizontal people. And of course, if you start to understand the process of creation, these vertical people and these horizontal people look differently to you in a way. You see them perhaps with more respect as the love of the creation, if we could call it that. I know Mr. Keshe's call it that. And so this is what we're learning, to coexist peacefully. No need for stealing, no need for killing. Okay, if there's nothing more on the World Peace Treaty, again, you can share it. You find it on the Keshe Foundation. It's between you and your soul. You're creating sort of a reactor or a way of thinking about things differently. And again, there's much more now for me in this World Peace Treaty than there was when I first read it. So again, the more we understand, the more we realize we know nothing, but the more we also understand more about this knowledge, step by step, little by little. Now, the Chinese community, I believe, has posted something which Ed put on his website, and this isn't, rather than listen to me about an overview of the 637, you can find this on Ed's website. We want to thank Chow and his team, or the AI, who put this together. It's only about 6 minutes, and I think a few people have seen this. We played a little bit of it earlier, and this may be something just to get a general overview. But today I thought we'd focus on the cosmic rays, this creation of cosmic rays. We are cosmic ray generators. We are that cosmic ray magravs and so on, but there's much, much more to learn about this. And this is what, there's a question, I think, what are cosmic rays? We'll cover that. And as I said, the One Nation Network could probably be called the Cosmic Ray Network, but it's called the One Nation Network, and perhaps this is the fluid that's interacting between individuals and between the main system and the rest of the players that are in the association and so on. Of course, we don't know much, as we've heard in the announcements, which we'll cover as well. So let me play this. Feel free to stop it or make a comment, because the way these workshops are delivered, in a way, it touches each one of us in a way differently. I may be looking for something else than you're looking for. You may have found a key or a deeper explanation, but it seems to touch each one of us slightly differently, but overall, collectively in the same way, bringing us, I think, step by step closer to a more peaceful, realizing we can operate peacefully in the universe, which again is far from what we see in today's world. So there's a huge change, but it may not happen tomorrow. But we're just sort of preparing people for this interaction with the energy dimension, which, because we were so enamored with the matter state, we could not achieve some of the things we thought we could achieve, like being peaceful. Or maybe the matter state just reinforces that stealing behavior and killing behavior, and we can move away from this somehow. Just be observers, perhaps, without killing or destroying anything. This is how the Creator operates. And if we made the man in the image of ourselves, then we can operate the same way, can't we? Although we've been blind to this whole process and understanding. So the physicist needs to come along, the physicists and the physics and understanding, and so don't we. We're just in the infancies as I see it. But let's see, and we thank Chow and his team for this 6-minute video of an overview, in a way, of the 637 Knowledge Seekers Workshop. As Mr. Keshe said, wait till we get up to the 666 Knowledge Seekers Workshop.
What if everything we see, our bodies, the stars, the world around us, what if it isn't solid at all? We're about to dive into a philosophy that completely reimagines the universe, not as a collection of things, but as this vast, interconnected field of energy. It's a perspective that, honestly, could change how you see reality itself. Phantom waves. That's the core idea, right there. The whole concept is that nothing is truly solid. Instead, we're all just these temporary patterns, kind of condensing out of an invisible energy field into the physical forms we recognize.
Anyone want to comment? Is a phantom wave the same as a standing wave? I saw someone on a YouTube video creating what was like a standing wave, where it sort of stayed in its position but kept replicating itself. If not, we continue. Any comment on phantom waves?
It's a pretty radical starting point, so let's see how it all works. So, okay, if we're not solid, then what are we? Well, this worldview suggests the universe.
Yes,
Yeah. The way I look at it, phantom waves, this descriptive nature or the intent of what he's trying to convey there. It's a wave and then something phantom, like something imaginary. So he said phantom wave could be just an imaginary wave, sort of.
Well, cosmic rays are kind of imaginary. I mean, they're real, but we can't really see them. I guess we can feel them. Is that?
Yeah, if you look at etymology of words, if everybody come to accept the word, then we use it. But if few people have that, it becomes like a slang for that specialized group. So, but in order to convey the meaning properly, you have to describe using some type of adjective to describe it. And that's what I think you're trying to put out here.
Yeah, that's what we see on the box cover of that reactor that Rick likes to play. Start to believe in something you can't see, plasma wind. So would those phantom waves be the plasma wind or the cosmic rays, perhaps?
Yeah, imaginary fields, imaginary waves, yeah.
Only imaginary to our senses, correct? They are there.
Mark, I just put putting a little link.
Yes.
It's talking about someone's version on YouTube of what the phantom wave is, sort of between the dream state and something else.
Oh, okay. Right. You're putting it in this chat, you're saying?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Yeah, there's so much to learn, and this is what he's saying. We don't have to kill, destroy anything. We can just travel and learn the knowledge of the universe.
I put it in there.
And apparently there are so many places to go in the matter state and even more in the energy dimension. Or maybe in that energy dimension, you're part of even though in the matter state, you're also part of the totality. But the universe is much more energy dimension than it is matter state. I don't know if the creator wants more matter state, or is this an anomaly in the creation? I know many of the entities feel it's beneath them to appear in a matter state condition. But as Mr. Keshe said, there's a lot to learn and experience in the matter state as well.
It's funny if you look at the Earth. The Earth is almost more than 70% or how many percent water, and you have the percentage of land mass is only close to, is this 5 or 6? And then the same thing with the universe. So it has to be some type of connection to that. Or what do you think?
Again, the universe is expanding, isn't it? So is it expanding in the energy dimension and then brings in some physicality? Is it being expanded to bring in more physicality? Or is it just expanding to continue the process of creation with whatever entities and energies? It's all part of the creation. So right now, I think it's 5% matter and 95% energy dimension. Okay, any other comments? If Alex was here, I'm sure, or maybe you can ask Alex's soul and he'll answer. As we know, we're all connected through these cosmic rays. We just haven't believed in it because we can't hold them in our hand. And I can't, have a bag of them in a way. Even though, as I said, in the Keshe Foundation, they're regularly creating cosmic ray materials and fields. And we do this within our universe. As he said, you can create the gold or you can create the cancer. This is the manifesting in a way in the matter state through the emotions, apparently, more than many, although other reasons could be possible. But the emotions play quite a strong role in the whole thing. And those emotions are the cosmic rays.
The universe isn't a bunch of separate objects, but more like a vast ocean of interconnected fields. Everything, from our own bodies to the most distant stars, it all comes from this single, unified source. The physical world that we see and touch is described as just a temporary ripple on the surface of these cosmic fields, or as they call them, cosmic rays. We emerge from these rays, and when our physical cycle ends, we dissolve right back into them. Our energy just returns to the source, ready to become part of a new creation somewhere else in the universe. Now, this philosophy introduced...
Again, this was created, it does sound like with an AI, but it does have some aspects, again, from energy to matter and back to energy again. This is the cycle. This is what the CO2 box was, as he said, just showing you this transfer of energy, and this is what they're doing with the One Nation Network, as he also indicated. Transferring energies and even to the point of controlling the dream, which again is the reality, and you can experience the universe in that dream state. No need to physically manifest unless you have a desire or you find it a place you'd like to physically manifest. But you'll have all the attributes of the physicality through the magnetic fields, just the way you do in your dream. You're walking, you're seeing colors, you're interacting perhaps with others. It's the same. And how many times, as we've indicated, or as I said to myself, when you wake up from a dream, how real and how immersed you were to the point where you had no idea of the operation of your physicality. How many of us have woken up from a dream and said, wow, that was so real? And this is the travel in the magnetic fields. And it's instantaneous. And this is what he's doing, controlling the dream through the cosmic ray travel. I think. Again, being impartial, just want to state this is only what Mark thinks.
This is a really fascinating, if not a bit of a mouthful, concept called the cosmic ray inertia field. But what it really means is it's the invisible set of conditions, the specific energetic atmosphere that has to be perfectly aligned for anything to become physical. You can think of it as the universe's blueprint, the silent force that decides what can and cannot come into being. And this leads to an idea that completely flips our usual understanding of cause and effect on its head. See, we tend to think that objects create their environment, but this philosophy, it argues the complete opposite is true. The environment is what creates the object. To make this kind of abstract idea a bit more concrete, the source uses a surprisingly simple analogy, and it all starts with a common household appliance, the dehumidifier. Think about it, right? You're in a room breathing air that feels totally dry, totally empty. But then you turn on a condenser, which changes the gravitational and magnetic conditions right inside that machine, and suddenly, buckets of water are being pulled from that same empty air. The water was always there, just as a field, but it only became physical when the environment was just right. So here's the crucial takeaway, the thing to really let sink in. The invisible environment is the cause, and the physical object is the effect. The right conditions in the field have to exist first before a star, a planet, or even a single cell in your body can come into being. And this philosophy takes that idea to its logical and pretty mind-bending conclusion. It suggests that if you could create the perfect environmental field around a single drop of water, you could, theoretically, cause it to manifest as a fish. The key isn't changing the matter itself, but mastering the field around it. Now, I know this all feels very cosmic and distant, right? But this is where the philosophy brings it right back home to us. It argues there's a direct, powerful human connection to this whole process of creation, and we find it in our inner world. Exactly. If the environment creates reality, how can one person possibly hope to influence these huge cosmic forces? Well, the answer, according to this philosophy, is through something we all have: our emotions. And here's a really powerful metaphor to explain it. Think of your emotion as the control switch, kind of like the dial on a cooker that adjusts the flame. It's the mechanism we use to change our own fundamental state of being. So imagine your physical body is like ice. It's a solid, fixed state. The flame of your emotion can change that state. A little bit of heat turns that ice to water. Crank it up, and you get vapor, an energy field that's no longer stuck in one place and can travel freely. In this view, emotion is what lets us shift from a state of matter to a state of field. So, within this whole framework, your soul is described as the actual engine that generates these creative fields, and emotion, that's its primary tool. Your soul creates the environment, and your emotion is the lever that controls the strength and quality of that environment. So, if we can actually learn to master this connection between our soul and our emotions, what becomes possible? Well, according to this philosophy, it unlocks abilities that go way, way beyond our normal physical limits. And the claims here are profound. With total mastery of your emotional energy, you could supposedly control your own manifestation. I mean, imagine traveling anywhere in the universe instantly, just by becoming a field and rematerializing, or creating a body that's perfectly adapted to any environment, from the Arctic to another planet. In this state, the physical world itself becomes pliable. So what's the catch? What's the big challenge? It's our deep, ingrained attachment to our 5 physical senses. Our belief that the physical world is the only real world. That's what holds us back from operating at the level of the soul, at the level of the field. And that brings us to the ultimate takeaway here. The secret to creation isn't found in external technology. It's not about faster rockets or bigger machines. It's found within. The real power lies in mastering the control switch of our own inner emotional field. And so, we're left with a final, really challenging question. Is the greatest barrier to our potential simply our attachment to the physical world? What might become possible if we just dared to look beyond what our 5 senses tell us is real?
So yes, Mr. Keshe stressed this, is your biggest enemy is the consciousness of the physicality. And maybe that's what that carbon-14 does. It separates the physicality from the neural system, I think. And this is why he's using these cosmic rays to, as he said, control your dream based on perhaps the wishes of your emotion and the soul. You want to go to Mars, you want to go to the moon through the cosmic rays, you feel you're there. Any comments on this anyone would like to make? Again, this is what I've often referred to before the Keshe Foundation when I was investigating the Montauk project, where they used some sort of supposedly magnetic fields of the matter state, probably electron vibration, to create a different emotion or a different energy, that something happened within that hydrogen of the brain and the soul of the man that they actually perhaps traveled. But again, I don't know if it's fact or fiction, as we were talking earlier, like the moon landing or even recent moon pictures, as we've gotten so many frauds in the past. So, but again, through the Keshe Foundation, they've mastered not only controlling the environment, but controlling or creating the soul as well. And this is what's hidden in this gameplay that we're talking about, the One Nation Network, or perhaps we can call it the Cosmic Ray Network. So thank you for the creators of this video. I hope it expressed a little bit more. And since we're on the cosmic rays, maybe we'll go to the beginning of the workshop. And as Mr. Keshe said, these cosmic rays, I guess some scientists call them up quirks, down quirks, and every other kind of quirk or quack or whatever, but they don't really have a good understanding of it. Is this the same as the cosmic rays? And there's billions of them apparently at different strength fields and the rest of this. So I thought we'd just listen to the first few minutes, and then we'll go to another question on what are cosmic rays. So we kind of, but we're definitely these generators of cosmic rays without a doubt. So what I'd like to do, here again, phantom waves was used here, but he says it affects everything, these cosmic rays. So let's just listen to a few minutes of the intro of the workshop. Again, it wasn't a long workshop, but again, probably deeper than I see it at this point. So let's hear the first few minutes about how these cosmic rays, which you're a generator of and a user of, and a receiver of, and a sender of, how these work a little bit more.
37.
Hey, Mark, where's that transcripts for this last teaching?
Where are the transcripts?
Yeah, it's not on the which channel? Ed's channel? Because I can't find it.
I don't know if he includes but it should be in the American Knowledge Team or in the student on Telegram, the private students.
Yeah, I didn't see that there. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
I'll look for it.
Okay. So again, more about these cosmic rays, which is happening with our own universe. And as he said, those emotions you feel inside is what you see, I guess, or feel on the outside. You can create this different emotions within you, and then the sort of environment in a way changes. I know a simple thing like even humming for a minute or two changes or resonates a different sort of vibration. So there's many ways we can sort of change this, but apparently it all goes on within that inner universe. One of the expressions we hear in the book is man exists and operates in the universe, and the universe exists and operates within the man. But I could never think, how could they put a big universe like this inside of me? But I think it's just the ability to create magnetical gravitational field positioning or entity positioning. So it's not that the physical universe is in you, but you have the ability to create those magnetic gravitational field positioning or interactions anywhere in the universe. Because I don't think the physical universe is within me, is it? Anyone?
Okay. Mark, I'm positing, I'm thinking, every cell has the black hole, so to speak. And that is, in a way, the initiation of a universe. So I'm still thinking about this, but it seems to me we have many gateways into different universes. We can change our positioning to fit into something, and that also has the same ability to fit into what we perceive as small, but in fact, that's only our perception.
Yes, that's interesting, Gail. Every plasma has its own black hole. Every cell has its own black hole. And the biggest black hole is the soul of the man within the body. And so if you think about 35 trillion or 30 trillion or 70 trillion cells, that's a lot of black holes operating. They must be so micro, but yet this is the gravitational point of holding things together. So we have a lot of black holes we're actually operating. No need to fear them at all. Every crosshatch of your skin where you see that, whether you have a hair coming out or not, is a point of a black hole. Very tiny. As we develop these viewing systems, I think we're going to see each other as truly an energy being rather than the matter state, as we see these energies coming and going from ourselves in such a tiny, tiny environment. I don't know if it'll take time to get to that magnification or not. But let's hear this. Any other thoughts, comments, questions? Again, no one's wrong and no one's 100% right. Even the creator is still learning. So let's hear the first few minutes and then we'll go to the question more about cosmic rays. This is the key to the creation, understanding these. And again, it's for you to investigate and understand for yourself. I certainly am working on creating cosmic rays or this understanding within me, and I haven't achieved it yet, but I'll just share what I understand rather than having me tell you what to do when I haven't even gotten there yet. But Mr. Keshe does encourage us to, we are all teachers and we're all students.
Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, April 9th, 2026. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Education Department and part of the public teachings in English. My name's Rick Cremont. I'll be your host once again in this weekly series of wonderful workshops. And once again, we have his essence, Mr. Keshe, to present today's workshop. And thank you, Mr. Keshe, for being here for the last 636 Knowledge Seekers workshops continuously every week and on time every time too. So quite amazing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, good day to you as usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this series of Knowledge Seekers of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. We welcome you back as usual to this amazing field which has created us, and we are amazed by how simply us thinking the most intelligent thing in the universe are nothing but just of what I call phantom waves, and depends how they condense through the interaction of the cosmic rays. It becomes our emotion, it becomes our feeling, it becomes our skin, it becomes our voice, and all that is one thing, a collection of cosmic rays, the rays of cosmos, the rays of creation. And as I always said, if it's so simple, what and why are we fighting for? We fight to live, we fight to be there, we fight to take the last breath as long as possible. We fight to destroy each other to show we have power. And we do everything else from collection of fields. The question to ask is, we have become manifestation of collection of fields of the universe. And at the end of the cycle of the physicality, we become again those fields of universe. We come from cosmic rays and we go back to become cosmic rays to somewhere in the span of the universe become the source of creation. Cosmic dust, cosmic fields, manifestation of stars, and again, maybe our soul become that grain of dust in the deserts of the universe.
So apparently there's already a default position for your soul, but that can be changed or manipulated apparently. But this is what we're understanding through these cosmic rays. We can do a lot with what we have. But we've come from cosmic rays, we've manifested in the matter state, we will return to cosmic rays. but hopefully this time without the killing and destruction carried with the wrong streak, as we mentioned earlier. So we're in a world, we're in an environment of cosmic rays that controls much of our, as he said, the emotions, the skin, the voice, everything. It all starts in the energy dimension rather than the, and of course, just the way the rays came together here, it wasn't planned, but the way they've come created the most beautiful place in the matter state, but very harsh conditions to exist for many billions of people on this planet, whether physically or emotionally. And this is why we're moving into the peaceful, permanent condition, that we don't have to see this killing and destruction, and we don't have to carry it out and through the universe and continue to replicate it. So that's the work of the cosmic rays, as he said. Once we get familiar with this, probably through certain systems like the One Planet Network, we'll be able to operate without the killing and destruction that apparently is so offensive to the whole universal community. It's beneath them, in a way. And so to become part of that family, we have to move in that direction. Again, slowly, collectively, step by step. We're getting there. And we're being invited into a bigger understanding of the universe and our creation. So let's go to the question on cosmic rays, just a little more. Anyone want to add anything? I'm going to move the transcript up. Let's see, 124, I went past it. Let's see if we can just get somewhere close to it on cosmic rays. Again, this is what's hidden in the One Nation Network, is the energy dimension, which is the cosmic ray. Okay, what did I say? 124. Okay, we're somewhere around here. Is that the one? Okay. Can you explain the difference between a magnetic field and a cosmic ray? And of course, as he said, when you put the GANs above the water in the refrigerator, you see a manifestation of that GANs as a field, a pattern within the ice. In the matter state, I guess if you spread iron dust and you put a magnet underneath it, you'll see that pattern. So that's the difference between a magnetic field and a cosmic ray, apparently. But I'm sure there's much, much more difference as well. So let me just bring this over here to that same position that we can pick up a little bit more understanding of cosmic rays. But again, we're using these regularly, often within subconsciously, unconsciously, within our own structure. And if we want something to happen, perhaps, and if it's pure and if it's correct, it makes that connection. Or the souls are pushed into a position that they have to sort of comply because it's an agreement of the other souls for that to happen. Again, I'm not fully understanding all of this, but we're just approaching this mystery of the matter state of the entity to its energies, and that's for each one of us to investigate and understand for ourselves.
Okay. Yes, we have a question from Peter in our webinar chat here. It says, good day, Mr. Keshe. Can you explain the difference between a magnetic field and a cosmic ray?
Magnetic fields we usually associated with the entity, tangible things, like by instruments, by magnets and materials. Cosmic rays is the ones which are free. We might find the source of it, but in essence is what do you call it? It's not connected to anything, which is immediately what you call tangible. It's like the field of the creation connected to the creator, but that's become part of cosmos. It travels the cosmos to find a home, to become our thoughts, to become our emotion, to become part of our life. So this is how we separate it. And every physical matter has a connection to a cosmic ray because it receives its sources, its energy from outside. Even when you have a magnet in your hand, the magnet, even so you see it as a magnet, it behaves like a magnet, it still receives cosmic rays, which is at this field strength. Because these magnetic fields coming out of it still connect to somewhere else, don't come back, so it'll be depleted very soon, but it doesn't. So everything you look at, you have to look at is matter state energy and a connection to the fields of the universe. This is why we say the body uses the magnetic field of this planet as 20% of the food. The other 80% comes from cosmos. The two are connected. One converts the cosmic energy to matter state manifestation, conformation of existence.
So that's how much 80% of our energy is coming from these cosmic rays. Either we starting to understand it, but we've never noticed it in our physicality. The skin, the hair, the breathing, all absorbing energies, converting energies, cosmic rays, and converting them into pure energy, as I understand it. The other 20% comes from the fields of this planet, the physical, and we convert that also into energy. So we're already operating in this environment. It's just that it's not been known to science, or if science did know it, they were hiding it from us. So we're certainly more of an energy being if we're consuming 80% or taking 80% than we are a matter state being. But we've gotten the book upside down and backwards. Or perhaps we're reading it wrong. But this is what universal teachers are getting involved in, opening up this process of the creation and how magnetic fields or cosmic rays work. And of course, in the research centers, which we'll hear in the announcements, this is the type of education and of course healthcare that many of the researchers that go there will receive a full education for the children, both in the matter state and in the energy dimension at a very young age. As he said, how do you teach a 3-year-old? And apparently there are ways to start understanding this interaction of energies. We continue. Any other comments?
But if you break the matter up in the correct way, you can become a cosmic ray itself. This is what you do in production of dances. You know, we did a few tests, if you remember, with the help of one of our scientists in Iran. He did a lot. Some of you repeated it and some others repeated it. He's a very deep researcher. He's a very big businessman in Iran. He does a lot of funny research with us, and I love to work with him. When you get a magnet, you put the magnet with the dust of iron, and you see the lines. This manifests the magnetic field. If you put a GaNs on magnets in dust, very seldom, if there is some certain conditions, you might see a few rays and they say no. But if you take the same, what you call GaNs, and you put it in the environment of the water, which is a collection of cosmic ray separation, you see the shape of your fields in the ice without actually the GaNs being in it.
And of course, if you want to see an example of that, you can go to the creation of the Universal Council. We've seen many examples of that by knowledge seekers and others about these fields, sort of cosmic rays manifesting in the ice or the pattern of it. You can see that, and you can test that for yourself.
That ice is a manifestation of fields. The iron with the iron dust is manifestation of matter state magnetic field. That's cosmic ray. The iron is a magnetic field. And you can do it a lot. You remember a few years ago we showed, and some knowledge seekers very quickly copied and they came up with it. We done some fantastic research with this guy in Iran. And he produces specific machines. Now we even bought one machine from him. Or if you remember the orphan school, college we went to, the orphanage, for the children in the orphanage. This is the way I can clearly say, if you want to see, get a gas, put it on a dust of iron, you see no difference as such. Put it over a ice block, rapid freezing, and then you see the waves. You change this proportion of the ganses, you see different shapes. It's a fantastic data. And that's a cosmic ray. You see the fields there, you see the fields of a solid state in the matter state of iron dust. Any other question?
Okay, anyone want to say anything about magnetic fields and cosmic rays? And as I said, he's mentioned a lot about cosmic rays and so on. And this is what we use when we create the Dome of Peace, and we'll hear his geopolitical take just before we create the Dome of Peace, but we have a bit to go. I think that was Dr. Gatwa's question. But how are we going to be creating cosmic rays? We are creating cosmic rays within our structure internally, and we're sending fields out. You know that with your lover or your children, you can feel those fields through your emotion. You can sense something's wrong. So we are huge cosmic ray generators. We use that, as I say, to create the Peace Dome, but we can do many, many other things with it, especially moving away from the destructive behavior and this cosmic ray. So how is this cosmic ray going to be delivered? Is he going to teach everyone to make carbon-14 and that way? Or is it going to be probably, as I see it, delivered through the One Nation Network? And you asked me, what is the One Nation Network? Well, let me show you. Or what is, perhaps we can call it the Cosmic Ray Network. Would that be a more appropriate network for this? Again, I don't think he's going to teach you how to produce it or generate it within yourself is better. I think we have a better chance. As he said, the knowledge needs to be protected. But if we go to the Keshe Foundation store, we'll hear this in the announcements. Maybe we should. Either way, we can take a look at this. So let's just go to all products. And of course, this website will be moving to Shopify. Apparently, it will disappear in the coming period. When exactly, I don't know. But this is the One Nation Network. It's a computer network. It's offered for 3,000 euros plus the value added tax. If you're one of the first 1 or 2,000, I believe you'll earn 2,000 euro per year, as I understand it, something like that. So that would offset the cost. But this is the biggest gift. This is where the network of the game of peace and enlightenment will be played. Right now, it's on a server somewhere or multiple servers. There's an Indian server, apparently, a Chinese server, American server, and a world server. But this will replace all that in the coming time, even to the point when the cosmic ray antennas, since we've been talking about cosmic rays, hopefully you can see what Mr. Keshe is saying about the cosmic ray antenna will be added into the units. Of course, these have to be tested, as we'll hear Mr. Keshe say. So a number of them are supposed to go out in the coming period, and then the balance will come once those initial units are perfected and used. But once it's been perfected, you can disconnect the energy, the power source from the plug from the wall, let's say, and also the energy dimension of the cosmic ray will be added, an antenna of sorts, just hook it up as instructed, and this will power the unit as well as probably deliver some of these cosmic rays for feeding, for wellness, and travel, and moving us away from killing so much, as we seem to like to do. So again, this is a gift to humanity. We're hoping to set this up for future generations. It looks like the foundation will be delivering the other 8,000. They want an initial 10,000, but perhaps in the next 12 months or 18 months or maybe sooner, we'll start to see these networks come out. And of course, be patient with this game of peace and enlightenment because it's still in the process of being perfected and developed, as many of the technologies are. But you're welcome to play. You can join the association. We should put some of these things in the chat. But this is the Cosmic Ray Network as I see it. as he said, will control your dreams. That's the cosmic ray to me, and the food and the rest. Not so much control. You'll have the control of it, but they'll create the environment for your wish, if sincere, I guess, and pure, to actually interact with these cosmic rays. And the soul knows how to connect. Again, I've only understood a very small percentage, but this is the gift to humanity Mr. Keshe gave, and this is how the technology hidden behind this gameplay is going to be delivered. As I said, they probably could have called it also known as the Cosmic Ray Network. But there'll be much physicality as there's a marketplace and other things within this entire network. So you can get a glimpse, in a way, of what's being built on this planet. So feel free to buy one or gift it to someone else. You need to keep it running, and hopefully they understand the value and importance of a unit like this. They're even going to go under the ocean, apparently, as a sealed unit, and they'll perform the same way because the entities in the ocean need the same sort of elevation that we do. As I was thinking the other day, it's just one creature eating another. And this is like the pecking order. And we think we're at the top of it. We're probably at the bottom of it. So purchase this if you can, gift it if you can. There'll be many of these, and this will be sort of the alternative network as the other system of killing and destruction gets sort of corralled and brought into a peaceful existence, or perhaps even fades out completely. But that may take some time. As he said, we won't need any currency once we get the greed out of the man, so that may take a little bit longer to do. But feel free to participate in this and share it and gift it to humanity. This is how we keep the Keshe Foundation free for humanity and free to develop as they see it. Again, I've not been involved in any of this. I'm not a computer person whatsoever. There is a coin ID wallet, which once this kicks in, we'll learn more about. But be patient with the game. As I said, it's still being perfected, and they're hiring some people to work the blockchain people. We'll hear Mr. Keshe mention that in the announcements. But let's hear a little bit more about the One Nation Network. I'm just going to go to back to the workshop, and I think we'll go to about, oh yeah, we're just about here right now. I think it's the very next question. About someone has ordered the Nation Network. I thought he had said they'd be delivered by the end of December, but of course things do get delayed and other things come into play, and I think they had some programmers that were in Iran or other places that were working on this that lost their internet, and now it's back apparently. So let's just hear more about gifting or being part of this One Nation Network. Again, you don't need a computer terminal like that to be part of the gameplay and to be part of the Keshe Foundation Association, which we'll put in the chat later. So it's a whole bigger, much bigger structure is being set up. It hasn't come into the full use yet. I don't think it's come into 1% of its use. But as he said, as you play the game, the compression technology, perhaps this wave, these phantom waves, is built into this, the understanding of it, as well as the more you play the game, the ethos of the Keshe Foundation sinks in, and that's the thinking, speaking, and acting good. And of course, this is the line to the creator, or to create that peaceful universe within yourself. That's where the universe is.
Okay, we have an anonymous attendee asks, I ordered an ONN, the network unit, I presume, in 2025. When will it be delivered? Thank you.
We have part of them with us. As I said, we had a problem. Our problem is not the unit. Our problem is our technical side, which is actually resolved this week, I hope. We had certain position by next week. Hopefully the first batch, hope by the end of this month will go out. Some of those who are the supporting team behind are getting the supporting, what you call it, systems, that when you come online, they can monitor. As I said, we recruited 2 or 3 this week, which have joined us, and hopefully we'll recruit more in the coming weeks. As I said, if you are a blockchain guy, get in touch with us. And you should see the first batch, hopefully before end of this month. The units are bought is with us is software which needs to be completed, and it should be done by the first batch by end of this month. And then we run into, by the end of the year, the 8,000 units. Those 8,000, if it's not paid by knowledge seekers, the foundation will purchase or we pay for it, and then we put it in operation in different countries with universities, and we pay in a way universities for the education of the children with 2,000 coins per year or per month. This came partially because we relied heavily on the Iranian, what we call programmers, who, due to war and what happened in between, were not allowed to leave Iran. We could not collaborate. The internet were continuously cut, so we had to redirect. That was the main reason in delay. Is the software engineers which we recruited could not get to the point. And now that matter is resolved. So usually it's not that we have to buy them, it's just a bot. They have to be loaded with the software and then start leaving. The first 23, I think, if I'm correct, if it gets done, I saw the racks being put up yesterday or the day before in the new center. They need to be loaded, tested, our internet connection done. End of this month you will see it, and then we run those 23 for a month or two to see all the problems with it, and then we unleash 100 to 200 a month to complete. And by the end of the year, once those are connected completely, then we release the 8,000 in one go. Any other question?
Okay, so you see the progress is slow. It still needs to be perfected, but it is moving in the correct direction. Anyone want to add anything about this cosmic ray network or the one nation planet as it's covered for? This is how he's going to deliver the technology as I see it, in one of the ways, or one of the combination of ways that the technology will be delivered. And isn't that what we see? He said the Ubisos would be part of this network. So the Ubisos is a cosmic ray, no matter state. So you'll be able to, in a way, I think this is part of creating a lot of things. And as we know with the feeding, once you have a taste or gotten some of this energy through the cosmic rays, you'll be surprised. You can go for hours and hours, even a day or longer, with just sort of one interaction for a period of time with cosmic rays. I know many people have tested this back in 22 and 23. So the technology is even more advanced now, but you'll just be amazed how you could imagine you were hungry because you hadn't eaten 2 meals or 3 meals or something, but yet you walk by a plate of food and it's almost like if it was just a plate of paper or a book on the plate. It doesn't have that interest to you. That's what I experienced when we did some of this testing. And by the way, the monthly testing for the Keshe Foundation is still going on, and let's just bring that up if we can before we go any further here. This is the cosmic ray transmission sessions, which you can participate in. Again, he made a bit of caveat. We'll hear in the announcements, as he said, if you've been in this is for addiction, apparently. If you've been in the previous addictions section, don't come into this one. Your section will be the May. But this is another way of keeping the Keshe Foundation free, developing the technology, and so on and so forth. So you may not, or you may get a gift for yourself, as we've heard from many, even those who are here, expressed they received a gift by participating in this process. But more importantly, you're helping to keep the Keshe Foundation free to develop without the encumbrance of looking for billions and millions of dollars to test and retest and reconfirm, and nothing will get moved. And that's why it's up to us in a way, or people participating in and around in whatever way. to help keep the Keshe Foundation free for development, because apparently they'd certainly like to stop some of these developments because it brings peace. It's a technology of peace. We haven't fully understood that either, but we're starting to. So this is the monthly sessions. They'll probably continue May, June, and July. So feel free to participate. Even if you can't participate, you can buy a ticket for someone else and they can participate. Just offer that to the Keshe Foundation, info@keshe.foundation. And again, in giving a gift to someone else, you may receive either now or perhaps in the future. There's no giving without receiving. And this is the way we keep the foundation developing at a pace that they like to develop it, without being under any constraints or any sort of money people to get certain results or to deny certain results. And that's many times what happens. Okay, let's just go back to this if we can. Let's see here. Not sure.
Okay, good. See here.
All right, perhaps it is time to go to the announcements, and I'm not sure where the announcement started, but I can look back here. And again, he spent about 20 minutes or more going through the announcements, requesting sort of specialists, artisans, other people who have ideas or projects or things they've worked on to contact the Keshe Foundation, even though they have hundreds and even thousands of projects waiting to move forward. Apparently, they even have empty research rooms in the research facility. Let's just see where we're here. Okay, let's just, we're going to move it to about 50 minutes, and we're going to just hear this. But not all the knowledge seekers apparently have a full grasp of what the foundation was looking for in detail, or in the, as he said, most of the things are already obsolete, apparently, that we've been suggesting. So anyone have any sort of suggestions? He's looking for things in the energy dimension. They have hundreds of products or even thousands ready to be developed in a way. And then some initial products that are coming out. But anyone put anything forward they'd like to share here with the rest of us? If not, then we're just going to listen to this. And again, info@keshe.foundation. I'll put that in the chat if you want to contact for a Keshe coin or other reasons. But he didn't seem too thrilled with some of the responses. Maybe they weren't detailed enough, but let's let Mr. Keshe explain rather than myself. Any comments anyone would like to make? Any products you've put forward or suggested? No problem.
Before, and many of you, you're sending us requests to collaborate with us in different parts of what we're developing. There is something very important which is coming up. When you're sending us information about collaboration, send us a full detail.
Okay, this is going to be about 23 minutes, so feel free anytime to stop it. But we'll get a good overview of what the foundation is looking for. We've talked about the cosmic rays a little bit. We'll hear the announcements, then we're probably going to bring us up to the Dome of Peace and then Alex's. But I do have a question, as Mr. Keshe said, about this cake of peace that he accepted. And I sort of connected with that in a way.
The plan, the proposal, what you have achieved, what you received, not just we want to develop such and such a thing and we've done this and that. For us to make a very rapid decision, we need to have full details. You have applied, you have certificates, you have licenses, what happened to the license, what happened to the product, what are you planning to do? Not just I have this and we've done this and we want to do this. This doesn't work with us. Those time that what we call Keshe Foundation used to look at these things is gone. We don't have the manpower to do, we don't have the what we call people to look at what I call just somebody's thought. Send us a full proposal plan. You made a prototype. We have to see the prototype. You have a legal registration. You have certified something. You have developed a technology. You have a permission. You have a factory permission. You have equipment test permission. Everything has to be included in your proposal.
And remember, they're not going for patents, as Mr. Keshe goes on to say. We're not copying your idea, we're adding to your idea, and they're not at all in the patent business, as you can see. It's an open source patents. This technology belongs to humanity, no individual or no corporation. Although there will be corporations licensed to produce items, and they will sell them under those agreements, non-disclosure.
Sending us this, and I've done this and that does not go with us anymore. We are categorizing those who come with the initial information or thoughts that we can build on, or those who have are in the process of developing, or those who have developed and they claim they have this, and everything has to be submitted to us. Any paperwork, any design. We are not copying your technology. As we said, we have no patent. We don't follow patent business. We respect the knowledge. But for us to be even interested in taking your case up for our team to look at it is very simple. You have to give us a full information. Not just that I have done this, I have done with my friends this, it's a team of us doing this. Every piece of work has to be stated. We spend 5 minutes on it. If it's worth it, we think we can support it, we come back to you. Doesn't matter how much time you put into it.
And as he goes on to say, apparently they're ready to invest quite a bit, even though we need a lot of support at the same time. They're ready to invest many, many hundreds of thousands of euro for the right project. So this is why they're being so selective, as not to sort of go down a dead-end street in a way. So don't feel rebuffed if you haven't gotten a response, or your response is not needed at this point in time. It may be needed in the future. But they're apparently planning on backing this with, again, funds. So they want to be absolutely sure they're moving in the right direction.
We're getting a lot of knowledge seekers coming up with, I have this, but the technology you think you have is already obsolete. That's why we don't answer you. We don't even have time to answer many of the questions, offers or technologies you offer us. To you is very advanced, but to us is obsolete. Absolutely obsolete. We are at a different level. What you see as knowledge seekers in present time is not even 5% of what Keshe technology does in the background. We develop. Even we have it structured in a way that our teams do not even know the other team what is working in.
And what do they call that in a lot of businesses and other places? Compartmentalization. So everybody seems to be working in a way and not being aware, although the souls are aware of what the others are doing. And this is, again, a security measure that it can't be sort of hijacked, I think. Any comments?
Security reason, for strengthening the technology, for creating clusters of specific technologies. I see a lot of people sending us, oh, I have done this, or my team has done that. You have to come up with everything. And those we see as dangerous to the work of the humanity, those who we see unethical, we just don't answer. Doesn't matter how good you think your technology is. If your technology does not fit into the program we have today, we abandon it. Maybe in the future we come to it. We don't need to copy your technology. We see some people sending us the edge of science technology. Everything else is obsolete. To you is very advanced. We are so advanced in technology, in development, that we can't even tell you what we do.
Well, that's quite arrogant, isn't it? We can't even tell you what we do. He's asking for people to, but yet at the same time, we don't realize how advanced apparently they are. And they have to keep it that way for security purposes, apparently. But as he said, everything we develop, we just develop it and we put it on the shelf and they go back to another thing and develop. So I think we have years and years of products that have been developed and are going to be developed even more. So this is the blessing of being part of this, again, 5-star space technology research development center. And I think it's going to expand in the future. It'll be one of the most in-depth and largest space research facilities. And again, when we talk about space, I keep referring to that space between your ears, even though there's other craft and other things that'll be developed, but primarily this is where the creator travels the same way, instantaneous, and you can't do that with a craft. So it has to be within your own structure.
Those of you who think, oh, I know Mr. Keshe, I send the thing, I have this, and we've done this as a group, it's zero value if full detail is not given. And even with what you give us, we already passed. What's the use of coming and wasting time? Many knowledge seekers are sending us to the info that we have done this, we got this certificate. These are zero, you're behind time. We don't go backwards, we're going forwards. And to allow you to take hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars of investment just to go backwards is not worth to us. Your communication system, your cosmetic material, your food system has to be something which adds on to what we already have. Not for us to go back just because you thought we were a knowledge seeker. We are not in the game to go backwards. I've seen some of you sending us information that we have developed, I have developed, but when I look at it, sorry, we are like 200 years ahead of you. Why should we go backwards? And then you say the Keshe Foundation doesn't reply. The Keshe Foundation, they want to still come in. No, because what you sent us is totally backwards for us to go back. I respect your research. Carry on doing. Develop further. We look at it. You can continue to keep in touch with us. We look at it when it's applicable to our process. When we can use it ourselves. When it's addition, then we call you in. Then we invest in your thoughts with you to be part of. Some of you sent us technologies, is so advanced, we have governments with us, this is all rubbish, because what we see you sent us, we have about 10, 15 of these things, people coming sending to us, it's already obsolete. Why should we go backwards? We don't need to. We don't even respond. When we don't respond to you, it means your technology is what we already achieved a long time ago, but we are not in open with it. In the next few months, with all the O&N systems which come into the market, all of you, there's about 8,000 of them coming into operation this year. How do you think you're going to bypass the internet communication? How do you think we transfer energy and everything and the communication and even control your dreams?
That's the part that I had noted earlier, and even control your dreams or your travel, perhaps. They're not controlling it, I think they're facilitating it in so many ways. But they're sort of creating the environment. I think this is what he means here, that you can go where your sort of emotions or wishes or want to go, perhaps.
Because we have reached that point of development to produce this. The new systems don't even need power connection. You can take it and drop it in the ocean and it'll do its work. Energy transportation is not part of our work anymore because we passed that point. We're adding into creating energy within, converting the energy into cosmic ray and reaching everything in a different ways. Be it for medical, be it for energy, be it for anything which is applicable. You sending us anything, just don't send us, we have developed this, I have developed this, blah, blah, blah. And you think is the edge of science. Your edge of science is a stone age knowledge to what we do. In 2027, we'll introduce a new plasma chips, which can literally run every computer on this planet in a block of 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter.
Gee, that's kind of difficult to compete with, isn't it? So we can kind of see just by this example. Hopefully it happens. We wish it happens. This will be part of the new chips, perhaps, that he's mentioned, with a brain cell and with an emotion and a chip that won't kill. But he said run every computer on this planet in a block of 1 centimeter by centimeter. So we can start to see how advanced the technology within the foundation is. But again, he's not discouraging you. He said continue on testing and developing.
Then you have to understand how advanced the technology is. We have to develop machinery to fit our technology to come. We haven't even got to that point. We have to convert the present technology to go. The next step for us is to create energy systems which themselves control to create conditions for production of new things. So let me explain to you, those of you knowledge seekers who send us forms or requests that blah, blah. The Keshe Foundation is at a point and position where we, even by producing ganses, we don't need material. Because we can produce the material ourselves, we don't need a mine. We don't need to buy. We produce our own material, use our own material to convert to energy, convert it into food, medicine, what we need.
That's what he said about making copper cups, that you can have a unit about the size of the microwave and you can make copper cups or other things like utensils, dining utensils, and so on. But you don't need to put any copper in it. It's mined out of the interaction of the fields, the very same as we saw the interaction of the fields creating the gold. And the inertia will be there in the environment to convert it. So you won't even have to mine any copper to produce a copper cup or a copper flask, which apparently are very beneficial to us in a way, putting our water and using copper utensils. Although we're totally moving away from that, I think, as he said, man likes to chew, and so this process will be a gradual weaning away from the understanding that we have now of how we get the energies. And just my understanding, anyone want to share anything? But apparently not too impressed with what has been proposed by the knowledge seekers and others.
If you understand this, then you understand how advanced the technology is. Self-sufficiency through the cosmic ray and not through buying materials, converting materials. So please, I thank you. Please keep on sending us as much information as you can, what you're doing, what you thought. Doesn't mean it's not something you thought it could not even be in our thoughts. We see it, we say, yes, it's worth investing. We are not going to open research centers and do things. We have already opened research centers. There are empty rooms in buildings waiting for technologies to come from knowledge seekers or within the Keshe Foundation structure of research. By 2027, 100,000 square meters of research centers available to knowledge seekers to open. You do not come up with something new. Once we are now opening up, there will be other knowledge people become knowledge seekers of future, which take these spaces. We are not going to open this space. Today, at this moment, we have about 4,000 square meters of research, empty space in most advanced buildings in the world already. We are looking for technologies.
So if you're hearing this, you're a businessman, whether you're making a mat or a pottery or a pen, perhaps approach the Keshe Foundation, or if you would like to twin your product with the plasma technology. As he said, maybe some of the ideas have never even been thought of by the team, and you may come up with something new and novel. And of course, it would set your product apart, as it would have the Keshe Foundation logo on it, which means it's powered in a way by, or interacting in a way with, the cosmic ray technology. This is the Mark Ray Corporation, the home of the cosmic ray technology. Again, it's not patented, but you won't be able to actually share it. Not that you would, I guess, if you were making a product and you kind of wanted to keep it proprietary, you certainly wouldn't tell people how to copy it.
The system is set up. Some of you knowledge seekers already know, working with us in the background in these fields. But just because you think I created something and I've developed something, or a group of us are doing something, some of the things you do, we don't even touch, is so harmful. To you is the edge, just because you see what you can give. You don't see what damage your technology is doing to humanity. Please keep on flooding us with new technologies. But when you do, just don't send, just write, this is my thoughts, this such as heaven. We look at the thoughts. You have set up a structure, you have developed a prototype, send us how it looks, what it is. We send a ticket for you and your family to move into the area of the research. We do not move one single knowledge seekers individually anymore. We provide, once you arrive, the education of your child, the full health cover, paid as a private education for your children. It's getting set up. It's not that you go on your own. We cover everything that you develop at peace, and with that brings peace to humanity. So please, if you're sending us emails or whatever, all this knowledge which is coming in from you, once we go through it, our team, only those which has a full documentation we look at. You cannot say, I have developed this, so group us up there. You developed, have a look, let's see. You imagine you developed, it's a different thing. We have to look at how much foundation needs to invest to complete your imagination. And some of your work is dangerous to humanity. We do not even respond. You use the wrong combination, you don't understand what you're doing, but you think you're the head of everything and you understand all of it.
So you see how humble we have to be. We don't really know. This is his statement about a half a doctor is a threat to life. A half a doctor is worse than no doctor at all. So even though we think we understand, it's apparently, I don't know what processes or systems he's talking about, but apparently some of the knowledge seekers haven't fully understood. I'm included in that. You think it's so advanced, but it's, again, so dangerous. Any comments on that? Okay. We continue.
We refuse. You have to understand, we work with governments. We have to be clean and clear, because especially with the new game which you play, we are funding the governments, we are paying governments, we are transferring assets into governments. For them to accept us, we have to be clean, clear in every aspect of our work. We do not look at your color, race, religion, path of belief, or political affiliation.
So whatever you come in as or not come in as, they're not wanting to tamper with race, religion, anything like that. Political affiliation. As he said, in the research centers, you'll leave your national flags outside the door. and the winner will be peace. So this is the idea of getting people to start developing this technology that could become peaceful for humanity as well. Many, many opportunities here for the right people, I think. And of course, all of us are part of it. That's why we're here, to help bring the peace.
We look at how your technology is in balance with what we do and what is good for it for the future of human technology. All these energy transportation, people send us things we have made, things that we can transfer. And Norway, Denmark has released the wireless communication, what do you call it, power transmission, which is so advanced. We are ahead of that, 100 years ahead of that. The technology we have developed is hundreds. Then we have people who say we can do this and we can treat this is that, this is. We don't go into the treatment, we change the soul of the man. And then we get a lot of you sending us like med beds and we can do health. We don't work that way. Unless you can show us you reach the position where we have. You have seen us, we tested monthly between you lot. You join us, you pay us for us to develop further. We look at it.
That's the monthly sessions he's talking about. So again, they're not going into making so many systems. We don't go into treatment. We change the soul of the man, again, through these cosmic rays. But at the same time, he said there'll be thousands and hundreds of thousands of products that will be manufactured. We see many of them in the resins and so on and so forth. So this is a beautiful opportunity for someone who would like to develop their own technology or develop something within the Keshe Foundation, and you and your family will be in a very 5-star, I would say, appointed facility where everything will be just right. And what a privilege to be part of a gift like this to humanity.
If you add to our knowledge, yes. If you copied our knowledge and then you think you added something else to it and it's developed to be something you imagine, but you haven't managed to show a practical unit, do not bother with us. Because every research takes $1 to $3 million to complete, from a point of putting it in, producing a production line and putting it in the market or bringing application to it. Keep on sending us your emails. I thank you very much. We receive so much in our what we call email pack and individually sending us the messages. I've done this, that. If we don't reply, it means your technology is below what we have achieved. We already passed that point. If we see a merit in your technology to be ahead of what we do, we communicate with you. We request you to inform us more. I've seen in past few weeks some knowledge seekers sending us, oh, we have developed, or I have developed this, that, and does this. You don't get the response from us, it means we already passed it. Even though you think your technology is so advanced. Please send us your thoughts. We look at it. Is it feasible? Is it practical? I had knowledge seekers sending us, I have done this, it saves humanity so much. And I wrote, what you do, we do it in 5 seconds, and technology is going for commercialization, even though to them was so advanced to do. We don't disrespect you, but we try to change the condition. We try to bring new technologies, which is with us. Anything to do with energy transfer, anything to do with the communication, we are not interested, because we have developed technologies which communicates across the universe. In the communication, we add emotion. Some of you on the 17th of this month, you're coming for addiction. See, and some of you joined this addiction test about a year ago, and how many of you lost your addiction? If you joined us last session of addiction, last year, do not join this time. Because your addiction is changed. Do not bring back something new to it. Do not just come in because you want to be in. If you had addiction, you joined the addiction session of the last time. This time, is no. We look at your references, we look at what you wrote to us. Do not come back in because many of you lost your addiction. Why are you going in? When you don't have a headache, why do you take aspirin? If you have a specific addiction, and you haven't been in the last session, join us for the 17th. Just don't come in because I go in every session.
So again, he's talking about the monthly sessions, which we've shown before. We were just discussing them. This is the cosmic ray transmission. It's 500 plus the value added tax. Be part of the research. But if you've been in it before, I've been in the addiction session before, and so I'm going to bypass this one and go into the May. Even though I'm still addicted to stealing and killing with my mind and my physicality in so many ways. That addiction hasn't been fully satisfied, but I think through the cosmic rays it will. So this is what we're talking about here. The monthly sessions, and they'll continue. Again, don't feel that you have to fully attend. You can sponsor someone else and you may receive the same type of gift in a way. Now or perhaps even in the future.
Because we work that way. If you have anything in that banner, please understand. If you're addicted to anything which you want to get rid of, join the next session on the 17th. And secondly, does not come by Zoom. You have to register through the Keshe Foundation channel, KF, on the Enlightenment game. Come in, it's set up that way. Nobody can interrupt you. It'll be the most peaceful session. And from now on, we repeat this passage. So people who want to join sessions, you register with us. We give you the access through the back of the system to come into the sessions. Nobody can cough. Nobody can disturb you. And this is development thanks to the people who developed our game system. Now this is another part to it.
So it's going to be, in a way, the gameplay is part of the next session. And of course, this is the game. You can find it at, maybe somebody could put some links in the chat for us. I'll see if I can bring my game up. It's called the Game of Peace and Enlightenment. There's one for the US, there's one for the world, as I said, there's one for India. And this is the basic game here. It looks simple, but again, as he said, one, it's not that simple. Maybe I can just sort of mute that somehow. But this is the game he's talking about that they're actually going to use for the monthly transmission sessions, and specifically for addiction. If you've been in a previous addiction session, don't come unless you have an addiction you want to get rid of. As I said, I'm still addicted to stealing and killing energies. And we're working on that. But I think we'll go in next time on the next month. Any comments on this? How about on the game? Anyone still playing the game? We know it's not perfected, but this is part of it. But this is how these new sessions and this new sort of network, as he said, the freedom of the man is hidden behind this game of peace and enlightenment. So we'll put these links in the chat later. Okay, the tab is muted, so we shouldn't hear any more noise out of here. Let's go.
As I said before, we're still looking for programmers. We're looking for blockchain, what we call it, computer programmers. We're looking for game programmers that we can recruit. We recruited a few people this week. Thank you very much for joining us. Those of you who arranged it for us for them to be here. And you will see a much more rapid development. We worked very heavily to bring in a large number of computer programmers from a certain country, and due to situations we had to redirect. It delayed us for about 3 to 6 months, but now we are back on the track, and you will see everything moving very fast in all directions. As I said, don't write to us. We have this technology, we've done so much, we got government planning permission and the rest of it. If you haven't got a unit at that level to show what it does, it's all theoretical. You don't hear from us, because when we look at what you offered us is as is 10 years behind us, we don't need to invest. And we don't bring knowledge seekers to teach them from scratch, to go backwards, to do things. Unless there are certain knowledge seekers which we see their knowledge valuable to us and their support. Send your imagination, send your technologies you developed. We know of 3,000 products development under the banner of the new structure. And we think there's about 20 to 30,000 new products in this. So one of them belongs to you.
And that's what he said. The store will grow by tens of thousands into the upper 5 digits in the longer term. But even if it's your, send your imagination, as he said, even putting an idea on paper that's just theoretical, but it's part of your imagination of, as we know no limitations. So if you have an idea, send it forward. Maybe in now or in the future it could be incorporated, or maybe they've already developed something like this.
We are not the end, but at this stage we cannot put our human resources and the finances to follow a man, a group, and the things which they think they have, but they haven't actually achieved much. Nobody can force us. The foundation supports these finances, and we have to be very careful with every position we take and every position we spend. We are spending a lot of time developing this, and as I said, there is thousands of square meters of research center, development offices ready for knowledge seekers to move in. But your technology has to be what matches us, not just because you think otherwise I'll get it, whatever. Go to the other institutes and do. It doesn't mean that we can take everything up, but it has to match our time, it has to match our finances, it has to match our understanding of your technology. Don't forget, we work inside the government structures. And we have access to the most talented people in universities and colleges if you're looking for something, just for somebody to go and do. Those of you, as I said, you want to join us in 17th session. If you've been with us in the addiction session of last year, please withdraw. Your session will move to May of this year. And you can allocate that position to somebody else. Even if you have paid for the session, your paid session is for next month, not for this month. Because we have to test it that from now on, we are much more advanced with setting up. If there are any questions, please, let's share.
Okay, that was rather lengthy, but quite detailed. Again, send your ideas to the Keshe Foundation. Perhaps they'll come into reality if you're not in a position to develop them. And apparently the knowledge of the knowledge seekers is not that deep to develop any system. That's probably why we haven't seen a lot of systems developed. And apparently some that have been developed are not so helpful to humanity, with the wrong combinations and other things, because we're just sort of learning the alphabet. We haven't even spelled the words yet, let alone make sentences. That's what it sounds like to me. Any comments on this? Okay, it is about 9 p.m. CEST, and this is the time where we do the Dome of Peace. Perhaps we'll listen to Dr. Gatwa's question about this geopolitics and what's happening in the Middle East region right now. We thank the Russians and the Ukrainians for pausing, although that pause will end at the end of Easter, the Eastern Orthodox Easter, which I believe is tonight or starting at 12:01, so they can resume their war games again. But again, we have to move past this. This is just showing how immature we are, that we can't sit down at a peace table and work things out in certain ways. But as we see, things are definitely changing. We don't know total outcomes, but let's hear Mr. Keshe's take on the geopolitical situation. And again, he said he was asked not to talk too much about this, to stay rather quiet about it. But as we know, and the connections with different governments and so on and so forth. Okay, we're just going to go to about 2 hours and 2 seconds. I think it's right around here. Let me move our audio up to 2 hours, and we'll hear this geopolitical take by Mr. Keshe and what he was, in a way, allowed to share. Or, again, I don't know when he's being told to be quiet about something. Usually they don't stay too quiet, but perhaps in this case they were asked not to share too much. But apparently we haven't gotten the truth out of either side yet, more or less. And the devastation is in the multi-billions and billions of dollars already, the loss of life, the destruction of children, and the rest of this. And as Mr. Keshe said, the report of missing, when we categorize you as missing in action or a missing person, we don't have to say that you died. And this is part of the cover-up of the huge, huge amounts of loss of life in this, because the people are just missing.
And do better job.
We have a question from Gatwa. It says, "Good day, Mr. Keshe. Do you have any updates on peace in the Middle East? What is happening there that the media does not report? Thank you for your update and best wishes."
As you know, this situation is very critical. I've been asked by the officials, please do not make any comment. I've received official requests by people to keep out for the time being. But in essence, it's the first time Americans have been defeated totally. A nation like America doesn't go into peace talks if it was successful. We've seen their behavior in Iraq and everywhere else. The losses of American soldiers exceeds 40,000. Military personnel, families, and the rest passes 40,000 personnel. Missing in action does not consider as dead. Hospitals in Europe are full with American soldiers. American hospitals in America, military, are full with soldiers. In the future, we'll see the veterans of this war, which come, they never even seen the war. As usual, American glorify things to cover what they didn't do. Iran defense technology is intact and cannot be touched. So they start killing civilians. And the guilt of killing civilians overtook everything else over President Trump. He could not see killing civilians. And that's why he wanted Iran to propose the peace. And the peace is in our term. We'll get everything we want. Iran will hold and develop its nuclear technology into a space without arms. We do not need nuclear space technology, nuclear programs, weapons, because we developed the space technology in a different way. We are aware of the plasma technology. In my communications, I asked many times why we are not there. They have their own reasons. There is a structure set up by Ayatollah Khamenei. We don't know what it is. They don't want this to be done. We do not know the reason.
He did mention something about that in one of the last couple of workshops. There was some sort of dictate by the Ayatollah that this technology would remain secret within Iran, apparently. So I don't know exactly why that was done in a way, but I think we'll see technology starting to come out of Iran. I know the Keshe coins will go into Iran first, and then to other poorer nations that need the support of the Keshe coin as well. But why to keep it secret? Again, I don't know. Maybe just to keep it and leak it out slowly. This is what the Belgian king wanted to do. Take the technology and then slowly, gradually drip it out over decades, perhaps, so that they could maximize the amount of return. I don't know if this was the same reason, or it was to protect the religious people from being, in a way, exposed. This could be part of it as well.
They're waiting for a date in 2026 that we are aware of. Actually, I was talking just before this with Rick. October of 2026 is when the Jews, the Muslims, and the rest are believed that there will be a manifestation of Messiah, and actually falls with a 666 teaching of the Keshe Foundation. Antichrist, as you call it, teaching. We have to watch that teaching, what it turns out to be. Very interesting. Coincidentally, we didn't know that 15 years ago when we started. Same time, you have to understand over 200,000 Israelis have been killed. Totally vanished. Top engineer, when you hear they tell you a power station or the Haifa refinery was hit, or the other thing, these are not empty machines. There are people working in there. If they are not, the whole thing blows up to pieces. All these people have gone. Israel has lost over 200,000 civilian and engineers. Don't forget, Iran hit the key industrial positions, all fully occupied. People are in the silos, dying. As I said last time, during the Hitler time, they said they put them to the gas chambers, they said they died of their own gases. In the basements, they cannot come out. The extensive damage done to Iran will be paid by the Americans. And it's in the manifestation of the things. Americans are trying to jump it by allowing Iran to collect the damages through the Strait of Hormuz. But the Iranian government has submitted in the court in Iran prior to this situation claims against national sovereign assets, against Trump, Netanyahu, Israeli government, American government. This is why when you see Iran has put in there that America will pay for full claims of all the damages because we have a court confirmed, internationally accepted, we sell the American assets in China all over the world to pay for the Iranian damages. Now you Americans, you know how you've been done, how you walked into a war. The next 10, 20 years, you pay to repair Germany. Now you pay Iran to repair the damages, you know, the stupidity. Read. These 10 points in Iran claim everything has a reason. America pays for them, and you don't pay. We got a court injunction. The way exactly Russia did to the European when they get 95 billion to Ukraine, Russia through court confiscated the assets, immediately sold it to the Chinese half price. They access all your technologies. Iran has reached this decision. We took the court case very rapidly in the first week of the war, and now Mr. Trump, all his assets, Netanyahu, American government, Israeli government, and those who supported it by the court order is changed to international will pay. They know we're going to get it. So damages you've done, billions, we're not going to pay 1 million per ship crossing. This is why America knows we got this court case against them, and we registered the court case. So there's much more detail into running of this war. But Netanyahu has already been instructed in the background for failing the war and bringing such a devastation to Israel. He's going to be arrested. He's going to be brought down as a prime minister in the coming time and then sent to The Hague for his prison sentence, crime against humanity. Trump is trying to buy that out. He was, after getting a Nobel Prize for peace, now he gets a Nobel Prize for biggest murder ever happened in the shortest time in the history of it. Estimated we lost about 250,000 Iranians. They cried for claiming Iran killed 35,000 people in 2 days. Americans have killed over 200,000 Iranians in 30 days. Has to be answered to. It has to be answered to, and we stand firm on it. If the war starts again, it comes out of the position that the Trump does not see himself out of prison. That's the only way he's going to be kept out of prison. His son-in-law is the biggest criminal. He'll be taken to The Hague court for initiating the war. He made an arrangement with the Israelis and the Saudis to create this war, to get a pipeline through Saudis to Mediterranean that bypasses the Strait of Hormuz, and he makes himself billions. He lied to Trump to initiate, and Netanyahu supported it. So you understand this is a family affair. Netanyahu, as you know, used to sleep in his bed, this boy's bed at home when he was in America or when he was in Israel. So this is a family affair, has become a world affair. But one thing has come good out of it. This will be the end of the wars. There's two things. We saw the leader of the opposition of Taiwan this week in Beijing. Because now, instead of seeing the devastation, what happened to Iran will happen to Taiwan, they're handing over. The plan of the Chinese government was to hand over 27, 29. The Chinese are literally, the Taiwanese are handing over the Taiwan to Chinese for them not to be attacked and devastated. And this brings a heavy problem for America. They'll be cut off all the microchips. And China is good at this, will control the American industry, will be the way they are doing with the, what we call rare earth materials, and then we'll see a new cycle, a superpower on the back of the government of China is on the verge. If this handover takes, because Taiwan is afraid that they might attack, and if they attack, Taiwan has lost everything, they don't need to, they start negotiating in the background to bring Taiwan into China. And once that comes, America is trying to get as many contracts signed, confirmed, and all Chinese are going to do any contract signed prior to merger of the nation has to be approved by central government, and then you know what that means for the rest of it. The war can start because Netanyahu needs to keep a war going to keep himself alive and out of prison. And everything else which is happening with it, but this is a dual game. Netanyahu and the son of the Trump, they both are in the same track. And sooner or later, because Iran was actually registered this court case in the international, and the Chinese are prepared to take all the American assets, has taken a different shape. And you see in the 10 claims of Iran, all the damages to be paid. You don't pay, Mr. Trump, you're in prison. We got a warrant, international warrant, even as the president of the nation. The same with Netanyahu. And Americans will pay because the damages were deliberate, were not done into the military, they're done into the civilian, and is part of the sovereign assets. Iran has registered claim against the sovereign asset in the nation, not outside. We didn't take your gold, you didn't take our gold and whatever. You damaged assets inside the nation, deliberate, is terrorism, and they've got a conviction for all of them, is issued, and this is what they don't tell you. And we see what happens. They try to recruit, they try to start a war, but Americans have lost all their bases. There are no American bases in the Middle East left, which thousands of soldiers have not died in it. Thousands of soldiers. When they tell you this center has been hit, there was no soldier in it. Where are you keeping all mock things in? Soldiers in it. All your bases, 11 bases, 13 bases, all didn't have one or two people just standing around. They didn't even get a chance to run anywhere. The same with Israelis. Now, our biggest position with the Keshe Foundation and the Iranian government is to see what's the damage to Bushehr, and we have offered full collaboration to bring any radiation into control. We are waiting for the decision of Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran to give us instruction if we can enter and if we can use the technology and how much the damage is that they think is beyond control, and we have to see what happens. But it cannot be as bad as 3 Mile Island or Fukushima. I'm waiting for instruction from the Iranian government to move in rapidly with the Keshe Foundation team in Iran to bring, if there is any radiation leakage. We offered the same thing to the Israelis on the permission of the Iranian government to support what we call the Palestinians with the Dimona nuclear center, which is damaged.
So both, and of course the Keshe Foundation has a track record of helping with the Fukushima cleanup, but it was too inexpensive. A company with billions of dollars of contracts, if a release happened, enforced their contract and basically pushed the foundation and its technology out of the Fukushima, even though they're probably still using some of it. So they're on standby for Israel and Iran, and in the Ukraine, that large reactor there, in case anything happens. They have material stockpiled, and again, it can be encapsulated, this radiation, and not allowed to interact with the environment or the people within the environment. And this is what was shown and demonstrated in Fukushima.
Our knowledge belongs to the humanity and not nations. There's a lot happening. We are a key instrument behind in the background in a lot of things, but we keep our position. But you and I know the Americans are listening. We have got warrants and a national sovereign assets by the court, internationally transferred for all those involved. Americans have to pay for what they did without any reason. Iranian weapon was never used for nuclear weapon technology, and they played by the game of a son-in-law who wanted to become rich. Sometimes you marry your daughter to the wrong bitch, and this is what happens. And nations pay, thousands of people die. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, so that was the international or geopolitical view from Mr. Keshe, which again, a lot was said there. And it's just like doing property damage. If I go break the windows in my neighbor's home, I have to go through the court and they will order me to make restitution or repay for the damages and perhaps any emotional suffering as well. So it happens in the small, but apparently they're going to try and push this in the large. That this idea, can't we just stay at the peace table? Why do we have to return to the bombing and the destruction? But as he said, this is a way of staying out of the dock, as they say, or out of the jail for both the Prime Minister in Israel as well as the President of the United States. Unfortunate, but this is where we are, and that's, of course, why we create the Dome of Peace, to move past this killing and destruction, not only in our own lives, but globally. So let's cover the Dome of Peace if we can, which is a process that happens every day at 9 p.m. Central European Time. You can join with the Universal Council and start to explore this energy dimension. Here's where you can begin to use your cosmic ray technology that you didn't know you have, but you have. You're invited to join in unifying at the soul level every day at 9 p.m. Central European Time. Elevation of the souls of all leaders and the soul of totality of the Keshe Foundation, creating peace in everything that exists. So again, it's for us to start using our energy dimension, and you're all invited. The beauty of this is no one fails this test. It's actually a two-step process where we create something for the physicality to do, which is releasing Gans waters, which we'll hear Stefania talk about, and then, of course, the collective power of the souls. And this is the same of what the Brazilians are replicating, and every day you can join a physical meeting to, in a way, learn to pray through your soul. And if you don't quite understand that, you can go to the 23rd Knowledge Seekers Workshop and listen to the last 20 minutes of the 23rd Knowledge Seekers Workshop, where Mr. Keshe explains learning how to pray through your soul. So this is part of this collective work. We're creating a bouquet of fields, and perhaps that combination of fields will make a difference. The souls of these leaders will pick it up and change something. So no one fails this test. We're all successful at it. It's just that we haven't really felt comfortable with it. So you can join the Brazilian team. You can join the Universal Council. It's all of the same sort of work. And as we understand, this is not a day job. This will go on for quite a while. So let's hear these two steps of creating the Dome of Peace, which you can put into practice, one on Sunday and one daily, or you can extend any of these as often as you'd like to.
I don't know if anyone wants to read this Dome of Peace. Anyone want to offer?
I will
With a nice
read it
voice.
for you.
Okay.
This is what came in and what is now become a pattern. This is from a guy, I don't know him, but he says, please remember this Sunday and every Sunday from now on, till we raise the soul of this planet to a peaceful planet. Keshe Foundation Knowledge Seekers worldwide will spread the gas waters around the world at 12 p.m. Central European Time and or 18 p.m. Central European Time every Sunday at the same time as they choose which time to suit them. Thank you for participating in this greatest movement by the soul of the man to bring about the peace on this planet as the permanent feature of the life of this planet.
So, and again, you're releasing GAN's waters, not so much the GANs, but these are like little suns and they're pulsating intentions. In a way, you can put good intentions of peace and love and giving within those fields, or they know on their own how to seek balance. So this is something for the physicality to do. You can do it more often or as often as you'd like. But again, I think once the network comes into play and this energy grid or this energy net starts to, this may improve what you're doing. But these are little suns. If you don't know how to make a GANs or use the 1/3 of the water above the GANs, the top 1/3, you can go to the Keshe Foundation wiki and look up how to make a CO2 box or a GANs box. And this is the material and the waters that you'd use in that process. So that's the first step, something for the physicality to do. The Chinese have been doing it for probably coming close to 2 decades now, but it knows where to go, it knows what to do, and it brings balance into every situation. And you can be responsible for, in a way, releasing that. And it's the same when we release the fields, these cosmic ray fields, as this is part of the second step of creating the Dome of Peace, which is the collective power of the souls. This is where the cosmic ray generators start to work together. But let's hear, thank you, Stefania. Let's go to Shweta.
Anybody wants to read the Dome of Peace? I mean, beautiful souls. In here. Okay. I'll read this beautiful presentation of Dome of Peace. And the Dome of Peace is already here. All the knowledge seekers, truth seekers, lovers of humanity has built it in a way, spreading the GANs, loving each other as shareholders. So I will read this as please remember, every Sunday from now on until we raise the soul of this planet to a peaceful planet, Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers worldwide will spread the GANs waters around the world at 12 p.m. CET and or at 18 p.m. CET every Sunday at the same time, as they choose which time to suit them. Thank you for the participation in this greatest movement by the soul of man to bring about the peace on this planet as a permanent feature of the life of this planet. Mr. Keshe suggests we add the next step to create the Dome of Peace with power of the souls, as we have already going through this with the 2 eyes. And we ask you to spread the GANs waters each Sunday. Now we give you a new path. Now try to unite each other's souls. Try to elevate the souls of humanity, soul of humanity, through your own soul to a level that no one can touch, the embodiment of the human race. So beautiful. Choose a time where all of you come together on the soul level in a state of inner calmness. At that time, don't spread the water of GANs, but spread your soul. Unite, and in time, we will make a new race out of the soul of man. And then, instead of doing it once a week, do it all the time. M.T. Keshe.
Okay, thank you, Shweta. Let's just take 1 minute if we can. Let's bring up our invitation here. And again, this is where you start to use your cosmic ray technology, and your Magrav was perfectly set by the creator. And as we understand from the teachings, nobody fails this test. So let's just take 1 minute, give through your emotions the idea of peace and loving and giving and freedom to these world leader souls. And of course, you get nourished in that same process through the cosmic rays. We said earlier, there's no giving without receiving. So let's just take 1 minute of our time. And again, the physicality is not involved, so continue whatever you're doing in the physicality. It doesn't need to be quiet as well, as it's only really involving this energy dimension. So let's just take 1 minute and we'll start now, just to demonstrate this process, how easy it is. And that's how easy the process is. You're just giving on the energy dimension as we understand. It doesn't take a lot of energy or a lot of work to work in this plasma dimension. So you could do this many, many times a day. It doesn't take much energy and it doesn't take a lot of work. And as I said, you can continue your work in the physicality at the same time. I wanted to play something Mr. Keshe said about what was offered to him and how he moved forward with this cake of peace, but I'm not sure I have the exact right timestamp for it. I guess I don't, but he did mention about this cake of peace. And it was offered to him at 19 and then again at 39 and then again later. But as he said, maybe we can find it by just bringing up the transcript. I'm going to put, here's the word cake. Let's see where it is here. Okay. Yeah, the cake for the pie for me was a world peace. And I felt the same way. I had this strong desire way before I knew about the Keshe Foundation to see peace on this planet. Why it was gnawing me and bothering me, I don't really know. But there was something about wanting to see peace on this planet that was quite strong. And of course, I got into the lobbying in a way, citizen lobbying, not being paid as a professional lobbyist, and trying to change the structure within the matter state. But as we know, this whole matter state system is rigged. That's why you can reach immediately through this cosmic ray collective work that we just participated in. This is the way to bring the change. And so we're just awakening the collective awareness of humanity to participate in this. And even Mr. Keshe, as he said, it took him some time to, he put this off in a way. So let's go to, I think it's around 1:20, something like that. Let me just bring up our video and we're just going to hear this part about the cake of peace or the pie of peace in a way. Let's see what we can do here. Kitty's trying to help me with this. Thank you. Let's see. I don't know if we landed on the, oh, we're not in the right spot. Sorry. We want this one at the 1:20. Here we go. Let's bring this over here. Let's see if we land close to it.
And everything else, you have to understand, you decide not to go to mom.
Okay, we need to back it up. I believe it's before this. I may not.
You can run away from it.
Okay, here's where he's talking about running away from
some environment. It's very easy to do. One day I'll teach you.
Last question.
So, yes, we can do. Nothing is undoable. Everything is doable. But you have to understand the potential of it, how you control the emotion. You have to learn a way to access the emotion of the soul. And you all know how to do it. You wish to see your mother, and the phone rings within seconds. Mom, I was just thinking about you.
This is the way we're bringing the peace, is through the wish, through this cosmic ray. This is how the peace is going to be developed, not through the matter state on this planet.
Now you understand how emotion works to touch the soul. You cannot call with your spirit or your phone, the mom called me. But the emotion has been so pure. The desire of the emotion has been so pure that it's just connected the contact. Now you understand. You have dismissed a lot of things just as coincidence because you couldn't understand. Now you understand how it works. Create that desire. You do not need to go physical direction to one position. You can create that through the emotion of the soul. And then give it physicality, the field strength of the emotion of physicality. So simple.
I think this is the question now.
You can run away from it, but you can never escape from it if it's set for you to become. And some you control, some the environmental field decides when you'll get to be in that control. You can run away from it, but you cannot escape it if the environment is set. It's just like you move somewhere, you're trying to escape, they bring it to you, this is it. You say, Mom, I don't want the orange. Mom puts it on the table in front of you on the breakfast table. Mom, I don't want orange. Mom comes on the bed, says, oh, this is your orange. Mom, I don't want orange. Just because you're to sleep, Mom, this is an orange. You cannot escape from it till you eat that orange. Does not matter if it's emotional, psychological, and everything else. We have certain destinies on emotions and manifestation and creation, and some is set for us. We cannot change because the other souls have already agreed to it. For gifting, for what you call not gifting, you call it a punishment, but withdrawing from, and everything else. You have to understand, you decide not to go to Mom. But you do not know that the soul have decided for something happened to go to Mom. Mom calls, would you come and see me? Mom, I don't have time, it's too busy. Mom has already created, I made your favorite pie, the one you love. Mom, I'm there in 5 minutes. Now you understand. It's the same with the soul. This is how the promises of the, what you call condition of prophets is made. It's not the prophecy. It's the same soul, just creating the cooking different time to manifest. Moses, Christ, Muhammad, the rest and the rest. It's the same soul. It just depends how much it turns the heat up. Any other question, please?
Okay, here's where the question actually starts, but that was instructive as well. Again, sometimes the environment dictates no matter what, as the souls decide, no matter what you want to change, you still have to go along with it because the other souls and your soul agreed to it, even though the physicality may not understand it. Anyone want to share anything about that? So you can't get out of it. And this is what he's saying. He'd like to share something here, and this is what he's saying about his own experience with this, that he turned it down, but yet he had to pick it up because he couldn't escape it.
Okay, thank you. Let me see. We have a question in the chat here from Pete.
Can I say something? I think I've told you this before, but for those of you who haven't heard it, it's new to the foundation. The position I have today in sharing knowledge with you so freely, from medicine to space to agriculture to everything else, is a gift which was given to me when I was very young. It was put on the table to me through the channels, the ways I understood at the age of 19. I said, I'm too young. I cannot accept. This is too much heavy responsibility. I'm too young to have no experience to carry such a teaching, such a knowledge. I remember June, July of 1978, I told a friend of mine, sitting on the beaches of Brighton in south of England, we went for a week holiday together, that I carry such a knowledge and I can't accept it, and I know how to escape it. I know how you can escape this because it's too much. He said to me, when the time comes, because I know you know too much things, but it'll come, just take it as it comes. Take it when, accept it when you're ready. This went away. I battled with it. I kept on research. Came back to me when I was 29 again. And I said, I'm too young. I haven't got the experience to handle the world governments, because that time I was very deep into world of commerce and politics. I knew where the problem sits if I try such a thing. Everything changed, put me in a position to come to where the Keshe Foundation ended up. And then again, it came to me when I was 40. And this time I was told you cannot refuse. The term is set. And I abandoned all my work and I put into research and development of the Keshe Foundation. We can dictate certain things, but if the time is set, we're just a tool in the structure of the other souls. And then you see the physicality of the Keshe Foundation and the rest of it today. In a way, I was given time to play for 20 years, but I was told, you played enough, it's time to deliver. And it's just the same with everything in life. We have control over certain things, but when the other soul sets up for you, for your conduct or whatever you come from, you are within. There is no opportunity and no chance. Set is the mama who made the pie. You just make it and you think, oh, I'll go to see mom. The pie for me was a world peace. And the cake was already made. I was just there to deliver. Carry on.
Okay, so it does sound like we're in a very similar position. Everything has been set already. I mean, within the Keshe Foundation, even though they're outreaching for many, all we have to do is make others aware of it. And I think the best way is showing a reflection of yourself. Maybe not even physically speaking, but they will feel that reflection of this pie of peace, let's say. And this is what we're sort of partaking in and spreading it across the planet, and with other tools to help achieve this. Again, maybe not overnight, but in the near future. Steadily and collectively, we're all growing into this. So feel privileged and humbled that you're one of the early goers to come here and start to move in this direction, moving yourself as well as by moving yourself, moving the others perhaps. And as we learn about the cosmic rays and the power behind it, and then of course the collaboration of the souls as well. That's why we see sometimes the wish doesn't manifest itself, because all the souls have to, in a way, agree, or the souls have to be, in a way, put into a position that they're following the request of other souls, perhaps, and then they go along with it. They're part of a bigger structure. Again, the souls, this is a game of the souls rather than the physicality. We just have it backwards, as I said, where we think the physicality is the main creator of everything, where it's actually the soul. Any comments by anyone they'd like to share? Feel free. Otherwise, we're going to go to Alex's. He's not going to be here today. He sent me a 34-minute teaching, so we're going to share that now. If there are any questions, please feel free to stop the video, or maybe we'll hear all of it and we can come back to it. Alex is not here to answer the questions, but let's go for it anyway. It's called scoric modulation. And here it is.
Welcome, everybody. This is the Keshe American Knowledge Team meeting of 2026.
Disclaimer: the information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thanks for joining the Keshe American Knowledge Team meeting of 2026. And this is an important thing to follow up the Thursday's meetings with the Knowledge Seekers workshops, and then, of course, the Brazilian team on Fridays. And this is the rest of us trying to bring together knowledge in a way that we can all understand. So welcome, and I hope you enjoy this trip. This is the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute, teachings on plasma science. We're discussing the advanced picotech. Today's subject is modulation. My name is Alexander. I am from Canada. It is April the 12th of 2026, and this is part of the Keshe Foundation North America Education Series. So today's topic is modulation, as we are moving into the Advanced Picotech series here. And last week we talked about the margins. And what does it mean? Well, we discussed the margin of error, where we created an example where we decreased acids by $20, where A had $40 but now has 20, and B had $20 but now has 20. The difference was 20, and the difference is still 20. But the difference is that A is wealthy and B is broke. And this is created by some kind of modulation, whether it's willful or skillful or through subterfuge. Now, what is modulation as we understand it? It is the process of systematically varying a high frequency carrier signal's amplitude, frequency, or phase using a low frequency message signal. It enables efficient data transmission over long distances in radio, TV, and telephone systems, allowing multiple signals to share frequencies without interference. So as we look through our scopes, we want to adjust during target practice how we can modulate our aim, either raise it up or down or adjust it left and right, because what we want to do is hit that bullseye. And so radio transmission is exactly that. You tune into a certain frequency, and you can do that with an AM radio through amplitude modulation, or an FM radio through frequency modulation. But what is plasma modulation? If we look at contraction as we look at our muscles, we can tighten our muscles, or we can relax our muscles. We can take our fists and clench them, or we can open our fists, but we cannot not open our fists. You cannot not do something. Not does not work. And so here we are looking at the Ten Commandments and what's wrong with them. Because you shall not make, you shall not take, you shall not murder, you shall not commit, you shall not steal, you shall not bear, you shall not covet, you shall not rape, you shall not judge, you shall not touch, you shall not accept, you shall not possess, and you will be happy as long as thou shalt not lie. And so this is the problem, why we are fallen angels coming through this angular density, falling through weakness of increased density, increased pressure, increased gravity, increased dependence on earth space feeding. It's all part of that internal pressure of Gans fields. This is what balances off that angular momentum because that is conserved. So when we look at this confrontation, we say our duals as duality, where energy manifests as friction, fists manifest into fighting, bringing together that inertia density manifestation. And we always say kindly, gentlemen, shake hands and come out fighting. And so this becomes an important part of our energy binding because it's self-serving for us to determine our dimension point of me, myself, and I. But do we need to do this at the expense of others? Because what that does, it makes us all loose leakers, where we lose our vitality. And do we want to fill up with regular or a superconducting enhancement of our emotional and physical vitality? So when we look at Saturn's rings, we see that there are visible rings and visible shadows. And so the body of a planet is different from the rings. And there are gaps between the body and the rings. And there are gaps between the rings. So each of these paths that these fields follow is some kind of path modulation, which really shows the problem with the Roche limit, where we bring together particles that were pulled apart by gravitational forces. Well, how can they be pulled apart and still be part of these rings? And how come they don't collide? Or have they collided, but they break up by gravity? But they all stay within their rings as if there were a fence on the rings to keep them within the rings. And so this exemplifies our matter plasma dimension, where we have the physical, where we can touch it and see it, and the plasmatic, which we can't touch or can't see, but both are part of the feedback. And we are feedback dominant because we don't recognize the two different states. And so we are locked in a box of the old science, and we have to get out of the box and look at the nanoscience, the GANS technology, and the picoscience, and understand that the PM techs are all part of the principal matter. These are magnetical forces traveling as energy packs in nice parcels, and they come together and they dilute through these force fields where they come together with the antimatter, the dark matter, and the matter gen, and converge together into this plasma gen, and then go through a conversion because we need to have a place where we can do this. And that magrav is our earth space. That is the gravitational interaction. And that field interaction between the plasmagen and the earth space is an inertia field. And that too is a magrav. And so that's what we saw when we were in Beijing. And that's where the gold rush of 2025 began. And then now 2026, we have a silver rush, or we have a uranium rush, or whatever. It's all part of the picotomic state beyond the nanomonatomic state, where the pico is the beacon that has a gravitationally inherent field strength and an emission array that emanates from that nebulous blurry point in that nebulous nanogap. And so we see the coming together of the various highways, the transmission highway, transition highway, and the transmutation highway, all dependent on the carbon field strength. Where's the on-ramp? Where's the off-ramp? And how do we move? So the books of Marin Tavakoli Keshe, such as book number 1, demonstrated the universal order of creation of matter coming together of the matter, antimatter, and the dark matter. And at that point, we have book number 2, which goes from one matter to another matter via the structure of the light. And then book number 3, the origin of the universe, where one point splits up into 2 points. And here we are in man's universe, and we're not just talking about that, we're talking about our Earth space, that little tiny point. And on that Earth space is an even tinier point we call our home and our place. And so our schemes are so small and tiny, and the vast universe is nothing compared to our sister universe, which is even more vast. And so this is the problem. For 425 weeks, we're trying to bring together the one planet, one nation, and one race for justice and world peace. We're members of the Universal Council, along with Rick Crammond, have been trying to teach us that there is more. Schemes are bigger. There's another world out there that is obeying the plasma rule, where the higher strength feeds the weaker strength. That's a transaction zone. But we see it as a point of conflict where two armies coming together. And that becomes a binding zone. It too is an inertia of density manifestation. But within that conflict, there is a sequence. So there's an attraction gravitationally. That's part of the feedback. And there's a magnetical repulsion. That's part of the feeding. Oh no, we have to make some choices. And we are the last man standing, where we can turn on and turn off that feeding, or increase or decrease that strength, or enhance or diminish that positioning, where the stronger feeds the weaker. And so that transaction zone in singularity requires a solo effort, but in duality requires a partnership. What is a partnership? That requires reciprocity, a balance of incentives. And so that is the part of the folding deviation of the amino acid star formation, that we have to understand the similarity between the solar system and the human body, and the common denominators there, but also in the density, where the gravity seeks the density. Our density operates within the Coulomb barrier on this Earth space, and the Maghreb is constantly in balance, but there are concentric circles, and there are also spirals. And so when these two forces come together, you can see your planet and choose your planet. Or is that just a dream? Or is that inertia manifestation, regardless of time and space, as the PM ticks come together into the x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis, and you have these rings, but you have this spiral as well. So what do we see in terms of frequencies? We see this sine wave in singularity, where we see the peaks, the picocores of these peaks, but we don't see the depressions. We only see the tops of the waves. And in duality, we see an overlapping of waves. And as you can see, it flattens it out. It evens it out. And so this is the same thing that happens with the dynamic plasma, where you have an inside of the plasma and an outside of the plasma, and we differentiate, where we say, oh, this is me and this is not me. And so our aura, which comes around us, there's an inside of the aura and an outside of the aura, just like the rings of Saturn. And we still have to say, well, this is me and this is not me. And so that's how we create the boundaries. So when we look at the path link, our points of view are only the tops of the waves, and the bottom is a blur fill. And that's what we see. So in the susceptibility, there's an upness and a downness. And we see the upness, and then that's part of our field capture, where we capture that physicality and we say, well, that's rock solid evidence. This is our Earth space. And that's the reality bullseye dimension. Or is it? Or is it the funnel transmission, that funnel between the feeding soul of the man and the feedback environment? And that gives us the emotion of presence, where we have the feeding of the soul of intention. Well, what is that intention and how is it manifest? So we see that there's a peace dome shielding that is between our feeding state and our feedback state. So the RNA feeding is offset with the mRNA feedback, and that's how we get that matter gen. It's actually a reflection state. So when the raindrops fall, they act like a beacon, and they always hit the center of the target. And from there, the waves go up and the waves go down. And so that magnetical strength of the raindrops is imparted through its gravitationally inherent picocore. So it makes a big splash and it creates this wave field, and it indicates a direction of flow and a strength of the flow. And so that big splash comes in and then goes out and dissipates. But the thing is that that wave field flow is actually getting larger. It increases from that tiny target point, that pico point, and the waves get bigger and bigger and bigger. So, and they're all concentric. But these waves in singularity, when they come into that certain point, they do go out from that center point and they go up. But where is the down? Oh, well, in duality, we have to see that there's an upness and the downness. And in both cases, they come from that center point. So the waves go up and out through concentric circles, and then they go down and out through concentric circles. But there's a motion. And so there's an angular motion, and you can see that in the laminar flow of the physical acceleration, that plasmatic conductivity between these two gravitational fields. And in the core is that blur fill threshold, and we have to cross that. So when we look at these nanocharges, we see the concentric circles, the beacon charge in the core and the beacon discharge at the outset. And all of these points are kind of like us, boots on the ground, and everywhere we are, we're not upside down, not down under, and not on the ceiling. So, and this is what happened when we did the rotating balls in Beijing, and we didn't do it in singularity, we did in duality. So all the points of the star formation were two rotating fields working together, and they were all on the tabletops, all at the same height, but it was raining GANs, and some of the GANs fell into the spoons that you see there. And these were all part of the gold GANs. And these were all part of that dynamic blur fill within each reactor. We couldn't see it where it came from, but it came together. And so we have to look at the phospholipids in the same way. We took the essential fatty acids and we took two of them, brought them together and combined with a hydrophilic head. And so we had an outside, but then we had an inside, and it was made the same way. And then there was that hydrophobic tails coming together in a transition zone. So when we talk about this linear margin, we had to clearly say there's an outside reference and an inside reference and a transition reference. So when we look at frequency modulation, we look at the sine wave in singularity with gaps, and we look at the caps, the caps of the waves, and then we have the troughs of the waves. But if we do singularity of the sine waves without gaps, that involves contraction, just like our muscles. You bring it together, and what does it do? It creates a layer, it creates a flatness, it creates a surface. And so that is the thing about the plasma matter margins. We have to understand how the plasma state is balanced. The GANs and the nano and the atomic state are also balanced, and the MAGRAV energy transfer states are also balanced. So all of these fields are connected with this blur fill transaction, this zone, and the margin can be maximum from the plasma state to the atomic state, or it can go the minimum from state to state, or even less, actually just stay within that state. And so when we look at these curved margins that we have with these cells, well, we have an outer margin of a magnetical and an inner margin of a gravitational, and we can see that the outer margin is bigger than the inner margin. So the inner margin is kind of squeezed in this plasma state, And that's how we achieve the bullseye of that pico core. So what does that mean? Well, in terms of the potentiation of hydrogen, we see that the alkalinity is maintained through an intensity, but the balance in health is maintained with a balance of the intensity and the outtensity. And then the acidic is outtensity, is a relaxation of the contraction. So the healthy balance is a balance between the contraction and the expansion. So when we look at the phospholipid array in linearity, we have these hydrophilic heads on the outside and also on the inside. And so as the hydrophobic tails come together, this transition of these fields and how they cross over and how they move along is shown. But then we get this phospholipid bending, isn't it? Because the cells are spherical. So the outside has to bend and the inside has to bend more. And we still have this transition zone, and the transition zone automatically bends. So when we have this outside balance of the hydrophilic heads and the inside balance of these hydrophilic heads and this gravitational transition in balance of these hydrophobic tails, how do they go around? Well, they have to go through this phospholipid modulation. So the outside has to bend, but the inside also has to bend and bend more. And then in the core has to bend even more. And that's how you get that spherical orientation. So the DNA goes through this modulation as well, where the healthy alkaline is retrieving and the unhealthy acid is releasing. And of course, the anaerobic, the dead, flatlined, leads to recycling. And that's what digestion is. It's converting food to GANs through this energy supplementation. And so we absorb that nutrition essence through this gravitational attraction of energy, and we release that waste essence through this magnetical repulsion of energy. And so now we understand this calcium inherent seed at this picocore as a gravitational neutron, which gives us that internal pressure to keep the roundness and the sphereness of the cells and the calcium at the core. But there's a plasma margin modulation constantly because the inside interacts with the outtensity interaction. So the neutron interaction gravitationally interacts with the plasma magnetically. And this is the plasma matter dilemma, new point of view, where we have the equality being that gravitational balance between the left side and the right side, and also between state to state. And so always these Magrav energy states are in balance. And that's what you're looking for when you're looking for peace and harmony. And this is what we did with the GANs of the soul. We took the cups of life and we created a cup of emotion and another cup of emotion. And they're not the same. And that's how we created the cup of life product. And then we did the same with the cup of physicality, with one cup and another cup. And we created another physicality product. And then when you bring together the GANs of the emotion and the GANs of the physicality, and you bring that to that transaction zone at the picocore where you have the nucleus of all the cells, and that manifests into a body, and you realize then, oh, you're a gravitational entity traveling in a magnetical field. And that magnetical field is where you need to be connected. And how do you do that? With the copper GANs of physicality and the zinc GANs of the emotional aspect, and the carbon GANs, which connects you to the universe, the language of love. But there's another gravitational language of love. So is that symmetry or is that a reflection? So our physicality is encountering a dilemma. Is that a reflection or an illusion? Well, here we are, pioneering America, aren't we? Maybe we need to understand the two-facedness of Aphrodite, the ancient Greek goddess of love. But is it two-faced or is it a reflection? And that becomes the question. So when we look at the carbon inertia highways, that is our reality, but it has a substructure that supports it. And that substructure is also supported by its own substructure. And each of these is a turning point. So all of these become multiple turning points in our understanding. This is how we achieve this cosmic ray equilibrium, how we manifest that into the plasma rays. Each cosmic ray has this maggrav equilibrium, balance between the magnetical and gravitational forces, and they don't operate in singularity. There always is a relationship. So we, in terms of understanding these relationships, then we have to understand how the creation of free plasma is made through that inherent connection line, where we take the star formation of one transaction zone and the star formation of another transaction zone and squeeze that together in that plasma state at the gravitational picocore of the nucleus of the amino acid, the carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, and nitrogen, which is the building block of the creation of life. And you see that structure within a structure. So inherent susceptibility and singularity is one point of view, but there's an inherent susceptibility in duality, which is another point of view. And the only way that we can achieve the gravitational completion is with this external input of the Gans field of humanity. Yes, that's our purpose. But in science, we have measurements in the physical state by weight and the atomic state by mass, and that is the gravitational counterweight. But in the nuclear state, we measure Teslas, and in the plasma state, we measure time. That is the magnetical counterweight measure. So here we are, standing on the shoulders of giants, trying to understand margin of victory in a plasma state, and which one is gravitational and which one is magnetical. While in the plasma state, we know that no two plasmas are the same. So we have a relationship where one is magnetical, one is gravitational, and it facilitates that dimension array point at that transaction zone, that maggrav of gravitational certainty, where we are having that emission light ray cross that threshold where oxygen is that non-visible gas, but it is gravitationally inherent. It leads to that plasmatic decay to GANs, and that GANs decay from gas to liquid to solid. So here we are. We need a supplementation. Why? Because it's due to consumption coming from that acquired knowledge of that conditional teaching by ancient teachers. Well, what about the unconditional teaching by the Creator? That's where we can overcome that 20% through this new awareness, this historical threshold between the cosmic ray feeding and the loosh harvesting. So these are inherent attributes that we have: a gravitational confirmation, gravitational center point, a gravitational picocore, gravitational certainty, that mutually assured construction. So when we're looking at the cornerstones of the spheres, these are really three dimensions. And are we just monuments of litter here or here or here or here? Or are we just blurry points of stability? Are we blurry points of security? Or are we blurry points of certainty? We are all three dimensions of our position, bullseye, and we can modulate that through the targets of our position. We're headed into uncharted territory. We are the ray within the array, and there are many stars beyond the nanomonatomic state covering the range from decay to radiation. That AI, that ancestral intelligence, where we are the technology, we are the inertia product, we are the image of our dimensional convergence point. So we need to discriminate, though, because we have to select our own personal star of physicality that solar physicality of our sun. And as we cross that blur threshold through that pre-selection process where the solar physicality of the stars of the universe are shielded by the sun on many levels. So to understand our emotional position, it begins from that position of choice, offering us that gravitational stability. But that magnetical stability is also a position of choice and leads us to elevation. And so our humanity civilization emits from a beacon of that inherent dependency on our earth space. And all of us that are different have come together with the same story, that of the Great Flood. So we understand energy portability. That's that energy modulation through the state transitions, where elevation means the physical matter state to energy state, and the inertia means the energy state to physical matter state. So yes, elevation involves expansion, but the physical manifestation involves contraction. So this is the greater oneness for 637 knowledge seekers workshops in a row, where we suddenly transcend the limitations of nuclear science, understanding the cosmic ray transmission. And then the next sessions in April and coming in May are teaching us how to overcome our addictions, where we turned, as our research teams are doing, we turn diamonds to gold or silver, because since May the 10th of 2025, the Pico Core of Truth has come out. And so that One Nation network that we need to achieve a scientific rescue to open the blinds, so we can hit that bullseye and modulate the outcome, One Nation network at a time. And that time is now. As we said in the 630th Knowledge Seekers Workshop, there's an embedded inherent frequencies, and the soul and the solar physicality threshold requires that blur fill. They're too far apart. The soul and solar physicality always hits the bullseye, and you are the modulator. So this is what we need to achieve. Our mission is to bring peace on earth and join humanity with the universal community. We want to bring man as equal to all the beings in the universe by teaching the plasma science and technology equally to everyone, that no one is left out and no one is abused due to lack of knowledge. So help us achieve this goal. This is the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute teachings on plasma science, welcoming all the beautiful plasma travelers of the carbon nations, learning about the new frequencies of the new organic plasma science. There's a World Peace Treaty. You need to choose it. You need to sign it unconditionally. Mean it sincerely, because the point of the true Picotech is the seed core manifestation, reducing the margin between the war dome and the peace dome. Is the inertia of the present governed by dimensions of history? It is time to learn the history of self in a universal context. The pico state is a superconductor with a marginal strength, and modulation of field strength through the inertia pico cores of the matter, plasma, and universal states is what it's all about. The plasma science is enhanced daily via the peace dome in a practical exchange for peace on earth. So modulate and welcome to the new golden outer space age. Hope you enjoyed this session. Thank you for allowing me to present.
Okay, thank you, Alex, for being so gracious and sending us this. Anyone want to ask any questions? Perhaps Alex will listen to this and answer them next week, or you can save your questions for next week. Any thoughts from anyone? Okay, a beautiful presentation, and I'm sure there's more in there than I'm privy to at this point in time with my sort of lack of full knowledge of this, but there's much in there that will be explained in detail. I wish I could do more now, but I hoped Alex would be here, perhaps, even though he said he wouldn't. Perhaps, Alex, are you out there anywhere? No, I guess not. Hopefully you're having as much fun as we're having with your teaching. So thank you again, and we welcome you back next week. Anyone? I think I muted your mic, If you thought it was open, I think there was some sound coming through there. And there's, again, many, many beautiful concepts presented here by Alex. It's just that I don't have his depth of knowledge to understand exactly what he's conveying here. But again, it all starts with the small and builds up to the matter state. This is what he referred to in the Beijing, and this is what Mr. Keshe was doing with one of the things he was doing, showing us who we really are, but also in a way putting some pinholes in the Big Bang theory that the creation doesn't start from the big and breaks down to the smaller, but from the smallest up into appearing in the matter state. So that's what that demonstration of gold. And of course, it can be anything from cotton to copper to oil and the rest if you learn how to manipulate and play with these cosmic rays, creator rays, they're called. All right, if there's no questions or any comments anyone would like to offer. It's hard to clap with one hand, as we've heard. So if there's no interactions, I'll play the final disclaimer and the meeting will come to an end. And again, continue to work with the three wise men. This is, and again, part of the ethos of the foundation, the thinking, speaking, and acting good. And of course, that's embedded within the gameplay. And of course, it's aligned to the creator as well. And of course, as you reach this, you'll become more proud of yourself, if there's such a term, of the work you do. You'll be proud of the person you are, and you'll be proud of the difference you're making. We don't make a big difference in the matter state, but we certainly can make and have and are making differences in the energy or cosmic ray dimension, much more than we've ever thought. As he said, these emotions coming from this planet at this point in time are peppering the universe with, in a way, unwelcome fields of killing and destruction. So even though you think it's just between you and the entity you may be working with, apparently these fields go out across the universe and then multiply that by a planet and the wars and so on. And you can see why we sort of need a helping hand in a way to get us out of this tragic position that we have not learned fully because we fell so deeply, as Alex said, into this matter state that the energy dimension was totally ignored. But now it's being reawakened and it's within us, and we're actually using it on a regular basis. All right. Again, any thoughts, questions, comments, or exceptions? All right, I want to thank everyone for being here, carrying a very small part of a very large carpet, as we're all, I think it's the souls that are really more involved, but our physicality is starting to catch on this game of the souls. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate your time, and we respect your efforts to bring peace. And that's why we're here, is actually our souls brought us here. And why are we here? Not so much to bake a Gans, but to bring peace within ourselves and then across this planet and across this universe. So thank you all again. Any other final thoughts or comments? If not, I'll play the final disclaimer and the session will come to an end.
Great job, Mark.
Okay, thank you. It's all of us, as Mr. Keshe said, it's just not one anymore. And you can see how the Keshe Foundation is manifested in the physicality as well. When they first started, Milan, it was just, I think, Rick and Mr. Keshe. And we can see how this has grown in such a very short time into such a very large and powerful, and most of it yet is still behind the scenes. So we thank everyone for supporting in whatever way and carrying a very small corner of this very large, in a way, universal carpet. Thank you.
I guess in a way, we do a lot more than we think we do. When we're around people, I think I noticed a difference, like more calmness. That they kind of gravitate towards me because I think I'm constantly talking about, Keshe Foundation and the peace and what's happening, what Mr. Keshe was saying and stuff like that. And they actually are kind of listening. And so they're just kind of expecting, oh, what's going to happen? What's this? Is this going to be? So every time I come by and when I talk to them, they're kind of paying attention in a way, I keep telling them this is not a religion, this is not a cult, this is not anything. This is just information, from the universal energy. And they actually, oh, they're not judging. They're just, I guess,
They're saying, what is this thing he's
yes. Yeah.
Were we any different? Did this all make sense the first time we heard everything from the Keshe Foundation or some of these teachings? Not for me. I just saw myself as a big pile of wires in a way, all tangled up on the table, and I was trying to untangle it all. Again, putting together that 1,000-piece puzzle. So this is, in a way, what we're opening this up, but it's going to become much, much easier. And I think, as you said, Milan, the others are going to become self-aware of what they're not aware of. And
yeah,
as a guide, in a way, to share what you understand, the way you understand it. Not that you're enforcing it on them, but you're just offering your understanding of it. And it seems everyone takes a little bit differently this knowledge and how they apply it or approach it. So it's beautiful, it's universal, and it's for all of us. And as I said, we're all growing in at different speeds and different strengths into this universal knowledge, and this knowledge never ends. So if you think you got all of it, I think you missed the boat. We're just beginning to understand the process of creation. So on. So thank you, Alex. We look forward to you to be back next week. Thank you, Milan. Anyone else have a thought or a comment? I put the link into Ed's website where you can find a lot of the workshops. And then, of course, I think he'll be working with the Chinese team, I believe it was, who made the video we watched today about the overview of the 637 Knowledge Seekers Workshop. Okay, thank you all. I'll play the final disclaimer and the session will come to an end if there's no further comments. But we're very privileged and humbled even to be here as the early pioneers of this, even though it seems strange to most. And again, not a conversation you will find in many circles, but this is what I think the fields will start to awaken people to a bigger, that they need to know more about themselves and the process of creation, that they can then again gain an aspect of immortality by being able to play off an energy dimension against the matter state, or the matter state with the energy dimension. And of course, this is what Christ just showed last month, and what all the Christians miss, this idea of transmutation. So we're opening up a lot of books, we're correcting our misunderstandings within ourselves, and we're also sharing this knowledge with the others, and even to the knowledge of the universal community. As he said, it's going to take more than all of us on this planet to open up fully this knowledge. So thank you all. I'll play the final disclaimer and the session will end. Have an amazing rest of your day. I better rewind it first. And thank you, Alex. We look forward to an entertaining session next week with you present.
Disclaimer. The information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.